as things will happen, we will come up with it. But right now, it's about the truth being out there. And let's see. Wow, this is not working out well for me at all. So welcome back our panel. Tonight we do have Lyle, Nicole, and joining us for the first time, Sabrina Shark Lady, for those that have seen her on stream before. Again, today's subject is UFOs, and I'm really just anxious to do this. So I have no idea where to go with this. All I know is the truth is out there, and we're going to tear it up tonight because we are going to be the voice of reason. And I want to hear what everybody has to say. What are your thoughts on UFOs to begin with? Aliens visiting Earth now.
Drum roll.
Well, it's happening. They're already here.
Yes.
They live here.
Okay, so we've got one big one already. That's right out there. And we have an I believe. Sabrina.
I have on my alien t-shirt because I believe. Now, whether or not they are living amongst us, it's possible, but I do believe they are out there.
Okay, well, if you're looking at the cameras I'm looking at, the guy in the beard, it's possible.
Oh, no. I totally believe. And I do believe they're living among us.
Okay, well, now that's huge. For those that are saying that they live among us, that is absolutely huge. I want to go into that more. So everybody on the panel so far, aliens are here. They've been here and possibly live among us?
Absolutely.
That's two. Sabrina? We don't hear you. Oh, okay.
I told you I don't touch much, but...
Interesting. Okay, well, I am obviously the skeptic this time. I will start off by saying, yes, I 100% believe there is life out there. Statistically speaking, there's probably about 2.6 planets per star in the universe, or in the discovered universe, I should say. So we cannot be the only planet that somehow have life. I believe in our... and I'm hoping in my lifetime we will see it proven that there's life within our solar system, even if it's single-celled. But to say they've come to Earth, I find that very, very far-fetched, and I want to hear somebody give me anything, just any piece of evidence, belief, opinion, to try to convince me, because I don't see it. I really don't. I never will, I don't think, but...
All right, so let me start with that. Project Blue Book, you've ever heard of it?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Now, it is the government taking UFO sightings seriously, signing a team of Air Force to investigate it. Now, I'd say between 1947 and now, I guess, they've had numerous sightings all over just the United States, and that's where they mainly focus on. But if you go to History Channel shows Project Blue Book that has an interactive map of all of them that they're seriously investigating. So if there wasn't evidence, I don't think they would be wasting their time investigating it. There has to be some sort of evidence rather than, hey, look, I saw a fast flying object streak across the sky. You know, that's not something that I think they would investigate.
Okay, see, I can't go along with that, but I'm not going to refute it right now because I want to hear what they have to say as well. But I can't agree with the fact that just because the History Channel plays something on television means there must be evidence. Next, I got to hear something else.
Okay. So I recently watched a documentary on Netflix. I can't remember what the name of it was. I'll look it up and see here. But basically talking about past presidents who were apparently in the know about our dealings with extraterrestrials. So back in like the late 1800s and the very early 1900s, there were things that happened all the time, that were extraterrestrial in nature, and people weren't afraid of it. It wasn't until like the 30s and 40s, around the time that the government started trying to cover things up, that people became afraid of it. And that was because of, like, what was the story that they told on the radio back in the day? They said there were little green men, but
World
people
of the
heard it. They
War.
thought it. There you
Mm-hmm.
go. There you go. Yeah, 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 yeah. But people thought it was real, right? So it wasn't until that time period and somewhat after that that people really became afraid of extraterrestrials. One of the documentaries I watched, was talking about, I believe, back in the 1890s. Don't quote me on the time period, but somewhere out in the Southwest, maybe Texas, Oklahoma, I can't remember for sure, that some sort of um, spaceship type thing crashed, and the townspeople like buried the alien and gave it a grave, and like it was an extraterrestrial, like everybody saw it. Then when people started looking into it back in the 70s, I think it was, they went back to look at the grave. They asked for permission to exhume the grave. They were denied, and when they went out there the next day, somebody had come in the middle of the night and dug it up and moved it. So, I mean, there's something being covered up.
Also, speaking about the next Netflix specials and stuff like that, there's one on Bob Lazar, and he actually worked at Area 51.
I've seen that.
And yeah, and you could take it at what it's worth, but
Mhm.
I believe him because if you look him up, there's a lot more information that's just it's not on Netflix. Netflix just interviewed him,
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
and but he says he worked on the flying saucers. There was one time that he never saw any little green men or anything, but he said at one point in time he looked in a window
Mm-hmm.
and saw something that he didn't recognize, but it was just a quick glance. So he can't attest to actual aliens, but he can attest to working on
The
um,
technology.
the technology. So and
Unacknowledged is the name of the show that I was talking about.
Well, and technology wise, I would unacknowledged is what you called it. What you
Yep,
said?
that's the
Okay.
name of the show on Netflix. Unacknowledged.
Let's see. By the way, and I'm sorry, Lyle. Sancty says hi in chat. He did call you Papa Smurf again, and I noticed you were wearing blue, so I
yeah,
had
I
to
did.
at least bring that up. Yeah.
I
Um,
don't have the chat up right now, so I can't read his. But maybe I'll bring it up.
Sabrina, what do you got, real quick, before I get into it as well, because you haven't had a chance to really speak, and you got to put your microphone down. I can't hear you.
You can't hear. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So,
Phone commercial.
phone commercial. So, considering we are, as humans, a relatively early species, if you go back to the Egyptians, they created and built amazing things and used a lot of celestial guidelines. If you look at their hieroglyphics, there are some unexplained images. And if you go into religion, there are some unexplained sightings
Mm-hmm.
that I think could have been extraterrestrial. I think the technology and the use of star knowledge helped create somewhat of our civilization now.
Which aspects of it?
Just
Back
the
then,
design,
especially.
the technology and the design of the pyramids, the alignment to things. I mean, I know people can figure shit out and stuff like that, but some of those hieroglyphics, if you look at them, they're a little questionable, and they really don't make any sense. Like, what the hell does that flying object in the sky apply to? It
Or.
isn't the sun, it isn't Ra,
Mm-hmm.
it's something totally different. So I think they have visited in the past. I think that they may have influenced a lot of things. I think there's too many um, things that have popped up over history too consistently that you just can't ignore it. You can't just dismiss it.
No, and I would never ask
And
anybody to dismiss anything.
obviously, if it were an alien race, or
Mhm.
it would be totally a different civilization, an advanced civilization. And I know you say, why would they come see us? But we've been sending microwaves and gamma rays and like radio waves out into space for a long time. Who's to say they're not checking out, hey, what's this little screwy group of people over here doing?
But not that long. I mean, if you think about it,
It's
it's
not
only
that
been
long, but
Last 100 years.
tops.
right,
Not even that
years.
long.
Think of how those microwaves travel. And if we're able
Not
to
faster
pick up,
than the speed of light.
right, but if we're able to pick up pulsars and quasars and all these things from stuff way out in space, who's to say they don't have the technology to pick up something that we might be sending off here and
Well,
saying, oh, well, let's go check out these little puny humans.
and so far, all I've heard though is basically, what if? It's all
What if?
just what if. There's no
What
real.
about the hieroglyphics?
What about
are
them?
What are they?
So I can't say I don't know, and it just automatically means there's aliens.
No, it doesn't. But I'm just saying, you said it's a what if, but
Well, that's all I'm hearing. We're talking evidence, and
right, that is evidence. of
no,
something.
that is a speculation. It's a hypothesis now that is not
Yes.
moved any further than that.
Are you questioning the people who are interpreting the other hieroglyphics of the Egyptians? Because if you're not
Translating and
saying that
interpreting are
her
two different
interpret-
things. So yes, I would question interpretation as
Not
opposed to
really.
translation. Yes.
You would have to be able to interpret something in order to be able to translate it.
Okay, so Sabrina, start speaking German. Say anything you want to say,
Oh.
and I want an interpretation and a translation.
I mean, do it with like French or Spanish. I know like a piece of those.
But you see what I mean? For the pieces we don't know, interpretation and translation are two separate entities altogether.
Yes.
Right.
Right. Correct. I'll agree with that.
I just think that some of those things, I mean, granted, it's not evidence of anything, but it's a little sketchy. And why not? We cannot be the only living things. We know
Well,
we're not.
I agree with that 100% wholeheartedly.
Bacteria on Mars and stuff like that, then surely there is something else way more evolved somewhere else.
Even on our own planet, we know of living organisms that we know of one that doesn't even die. It never dies. So everybody thinks of death as being something that all living things do. Well, that's not necessarily true. We know of organisms on Earth that will not die. They keep regenerating and starting life over again and again and again. Damn it, it lives in the ocean, and I cannot think of its name right off the bat. I will get that to you. There's also, baby, what is that little bear thingy that is water bear? Can pretty much live through anything. You can put him in a vacuum of space, and he will just go into into hibernation until he ends up someplace a million years down the road to where
Too?
in this house probably. Water bear.
Yeah,
It's a microscopic organ. Yeah, tardigrade. It's a microscopic organism that can live through pretty much anything.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So we already know things can exist like that. I'm not saying there is not life on other planets. I think, and that's why scientists right now are looking for planets that are similar to ours. We know all living things need water. That's the basis of all living things on this earth. So based off of our knowledge, we know it's very likely, even within our own solar system, there's water. So that we know it's likely there's some sort of life. But to say they've traveled this far, you've all heard the thing, or people trying to explain, if you were looking through a telescope at Earth, you would see dinosaurs, if you were on a different alien planet. I mean, that's because of how light travels and how many millions of light years it takes for light to travel.
Oh, yeah.
So radio waves, all that crap for traveling for 50 years is not the same as light years going down millions of years just to show you something.
It's kind of, I'm on the same page as you, Mike. It's kind of egotistical for the human race to think we're the only life out there.
Of course, yeah.
Because in the retrospect of things, we've been here a speck of how long space and stars have been here, and like Mike says, it takes tens of thousands of years for light to get to us. So, like a supernova that we see in the sky, it's gone.
Stars we see now may not be there. They died out years ago, millions of years ago.
But
the idea that maybe some of the extraterrestrial sightings or things that are unexplained could have something to do with the rip in the space-time continuum? What if we're talking about different dimensions instead of,
Wormholes.
yeah, what if we're talking
Yeah.
about wormholes and different dimensions and
But
things?
again, we get into the what ifs.
It's all what if.
Well, but I'm
Maybe.
looking for the actual evidence because people are sitting there.
Don't get Mike started on what ifs.
Well, no, no, that's fine. I am okay with some sort of speculation because, you know, you have to start somewhere. But it's the evidence from there, because for thousands of years, people have been trying to prove there's some sort of celestial being, some sort of extraterrestrial. And to this day, nobody has really come up with anything except blurry footage, blurry pictures, most of them faked and proven faked. And to this day, most sightings happen to be around military bases. So it's just, to me, I don't know. When, you know, Area 51, it's it's a test site. Of course you're going to see things around there. Florida is one of the top 3 states in the United States for UFO sightings, maybe even the world for all I know. I could do the whole tremendous thing too. It's just a tremendous amount. But and if you look at Florida, you have Air Force, Army, you have Navy, you have Special Operation Forces, you have all sorts of things training down there. So when people talk about this, it kills me, because most of the sightings are in places that do have these sorts of testing sites. And then to top it off, yeah.
What
Next.
about
Ooh,
Go ahead.
I started something.
What about the Navy just releasing and making it official that
We have
UFOs
ESP,
are real?
'cause that's
Now,
What did they make official? An
that
investigation?
UFOs are real.
No.
Whether or not they're green. No, listen. That it didn't say that little green people are real. It said unidentified flying objects are real. Now, the definition of that means it could be a drone. It could be a
Thank you.
satellite. But
And they said that
could
it's most
be
likely a drone.
extraterrestrial.
That report actually says it is most likely a drone.
I
So,
don't
the
know.
Air Force has never seen that technology before. So,
but again, you have nothing but blurry images from what?
But
I
when you
mean,
see the movements of that and the speeds at which things go and the sharp turns that things make.
exactly. And another thing that just a lot of that footage you see where they're zigzagging through the sky. Think of physics and think of being in a vehicle. We can't go 35 miles an hour without immediately stopping and hurting ourselves. You got creatures now that can do it at 5 million miles an hour through the sky back and forth, and it's okay.
We can't, but you don't know a chemical composition or biological makeup of something different. And what if it's not? You want to hear a real far out theory that I have, and you don't even know this. I haven't even told this to you before, Mike.
Oh, secrets coming out. Yes.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Okay. You know how we're just advancing in AI technology
Mm-hmm.
and creating all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, what happens if and this is going into different?
I know where you're going with it, but okay.
Where am I going? Tell me where I'm going.
You're talking more about you're talking about more about not carbon-based life forms, more about I guess intelligent life forms, that robot. I don't know, something along those lines. Technology.
What if we created AI technology, and then sometime
Skynet.
in the future we also created time machines, and our AI has come back in time to screw with us?
I saw that movie.
Okay, now I did not see the time travel coming.
All right.
No.
So, say there is space-time dimension. Say there is a wormhole. Say there is something, and we created this. And what if this is some type of a humanoid space robot that we made, and they're just coming back through a wormhole or something and checking us out because they can, because it's thousands of years in the future for them.
Okay, I don't know where to go, because I'm just like, I have no idea. There's no way of saying where's the evidence. There is none. I mean,
Right.
I'll be back. I have Arnold Schwarzenegger and Terminator. That's all I've got.
There's no evidence of God either.
Okay.
There's no tangible evidence of God, but there are entire cultures built around what people think God is. So
But
just saying.
But what does that mean? I mean, I can't disprove God, is what you're saying, right?
Correct.
I can't disprove leprechauns or unicorns either. So by that logic, they must
What if God was an
exist.
extraterrestrial?
Ooh, I like you so much, Sabrina.
Well, again, if you go into Scientology and Mormonism, he probably is. He even has his own planet. So,
Well, maybe he does. Maybe it's called heaven.
well, according to the Bible, I mean, that wouldn't be the case because heaven is described in the Bible in Genesis. We know, I mean, you could draw it out the way they describe heaven. It has a filament, it's above earth, and it can't
Those
be
are all
elsewhere.
translations. Those are all translations.
Are they translations or interpretations?
Both.
Sorry, I'm sorry. I had to do
Their
that.
own spin on it.
Okay, and you're right because the Bible has been, and it's been translated numerous times, and I'm all about that. You're right because
And selectively chosen as well.
throughout history, I mean, King James version, of course, changed everything because it was King James. He's like, I didn't like this version. Let's fix it up a little bit.
I didn't like these chapters. Let's get rid of them.
Well,
Yeah.
and it was a human, that translated all of this information. But if they had said that extraterrestrials were in it, we would be believing in extraterrestrials
Instead of
But
gods.
instead
It
of
had
a
been
god.
interpreted
And it
that
would be
way.
interpreted that way. Or, I mean, just because it wasn't written in the greatest story ever told. That's
But
what
again, the
people
science that
believe,
we now
know.
understand as humans, and I'm not going to say we're the most advanced out there because we probably are not,
No, we're not.
but we don't know either.
No, we don't know.
Oh,
But the
God.
likelihood.
God help us if we are.
Oh, I know people are fucked. Like, hold my beer. We are going to tear shit up in this universe.
Hold my beer. I'm gonna go to Mars.
Exactly.
I've even considered like, what if there was civilization on Mars before, but whether or not because something happened or we've drifted further out or whatever something happened, it's all covered it up. Like, I mean, Mars is relatively close to us in space terms, and we ourselves actually have stardust in our genetic makeup because we know we originally came from a comet or that brought some of those particles to the planet. So
Yeah,
why couldn't that have happened somewhere else?
And nobody said it didn't. That the point is, what we're talking about is UFOs being on Earth. As far as the whole what is it? God damn it, I can't even think right now.
No idea.
Okay, so how about this Bob Lazar's eyewitness account of working on extraterrestrial spacecraft and developing, like, reverse engineering the technology for nowadays?
What reverse? I mean, what did he come up with?
So I think I know what you're talking about, Lyle, because it was mentioned in that documentary, Unacknowledged. Basically, at different points in history, and as recent as like the 60s, 70s, there was space junk that was found, and the government couldn't figure out what it was. They were looking at something, but they didn't know what it did. So in one particular allegation, somebody from like the CIA goes to MIT or somewhere like that, somewhere there's like super smart people doing engineering and robotics and whatever, and they hand them this alien technology and they say, figure out what this is and what it does. Is that kind of the same thing you're talking about, Lyle?
Yeah, the reverse engineering is like, okay, so we never used to have microwaves, and all of a sudden microwaves just popped up. There's a lot of science behind it and this and that, but where did all that come from? Was it just somebody really smart sitting down at a desk figuring it out?
It's usually how that's worked throughout history on most things, from radiation, which you can go with microwaves,
but I just give that as an example.
From tissue paper, Kleenex. Do you know military came up with Kleenex and it wasn't even used to blow your freaking nose? And it's
claimed to work on a piece of technology that ran on an antimatter reactor on a particular element that at the time had not been synthesized yet.
Been discovered.
So
it's a good documentary. Like I said, take it or leave it.
I will watch it. No doubt about it.
I would say
it is good. It is very good. And here's the thing: like, why would you go out and claim something like that? And
people do it all the time.
I know that, but this is a scientist who had worked for years and had credibility and had clearance and all this stuff. Like, why would you all of a sudden afterwards turn around and go out and then be like, oh, I saw this, and take the risk of ridicule and being looked at as a quack if you weren't really believing that?
Because and there's a million explanations for that, really, and I'm not going to even presume to know why he personally would go out and decide he wants to say things like this. But attention is one. I mean, it doesn't necessarily, and again, I'm not going to presume anything there, but you guys are talking about aliens as if they've been coming back and forth from Earth thousands of years. I guess as long as humanity's been around, they could
have bases here on Earth that are underground. 100%, I believe that.
Yeah, I do too. My mom sent me all kinds of articles on it.
I know where you got yours, Lyle.
No, yeah, on certain things I disagree with her and this and that.
No, of course.
But there's a lot of information that she sent me over the years, books and stuff like that. Like when I found out about the UFO thing today, I was like, I got books. Yeah, I can't find them. They're in a box somewhere. I was like, damn it. I was going to show them and like read this. But no, my mom is a conspiracy theorist, like government, aliens, everything. And
lizard people.
Aliens.
Lizard people. I like that better. It sounds better.
The Greys and the aliens are the Greys and the lizard people are in a intergalactic war here on Earth right now. Pretty much. Let's throw that out there.
Thank you. Okay, so they've been here for thousands of years. We've been reverse engineering their technology. My question to everybody then is, why were people using stones and sticks and everything else if we had all these people, or aliens,
why are we
lizard
using
people,
guns with bullets instead of just like destroying people with
but
our minds,
again,
like
the industrial age, but the industrial age is a very recent thing. So all these thousands of years they've been here, we've only started using their technology in the last 100 years since scientists have been able to.
All right, so you ever watch Star Trek? What's their number one rule?
Beam me up. Do not go any place. Do not wear a red shirt. Do not wear a red shirt.
Exactly. No, they can't interfere with the growth of society, like a colony or anything. But they do all the time anyway. But
okay, but then the whole argument of them having technology here and we are using it is nonsensical anyway. It's kind of a moot point.
From like the movie Contact, where like, and I know that's a fictional movie, but I like to think of it that way.
But Matthew McConaughey
giving it little bits of information, because if you give everything to everybody all at once, you're going to blow each other up like we do already. You see what happens. So like, I think little bits of information, because it's too overwhelming. Humans as a species cannot handle too much. Look what's happened with COVID. People are losing their ever-loving minds. You can't go anywhere without some quack somewhere. Can you imagine if some extraterrestrial comes down and is like, here, I'm going to give you this space-time continuum and you're going to form this gate and blah, blah, blah. No.
Okay, you went with Stargate and Contact all at the same time, and both bad examples because they gave the human race all the technology they had. So,
but they gave it in little bits. So,
okay, they traveled to other worlds. It wasn't a little bit.
What about if there are people here in the government and global government? Okay,
I can see it with Mitch McConnell. I could see him being an alien.
He's a lizard person, I'm pretty sure.
He has to be. Well, I would say more amphibious. He's a turtle, yeah, amphibious.
Have you seen that picture of Pelosi with her eyes like all weird?
That's just her face. Yeah. Don't be mean.
Could be an alien, I'm just saying.
She could be. But, you know, so who's to say that, I mean, that was the whole thing that I was getting at, is I've watched this whole documentary that there are definitely people in the U.S. government, past presidents, but, you know, at some point they kind of stopped trusting the presidents. I think I blame Ronald Reagan for that one. But, you know, who's to say that there aren't people who have that technology? I mean, Trump is fully funding a space army.
Space Force, yeah. Yes. There's a new Netflix series out yesterday, by the way.
I haven't seen it, but I've seen it on Netflix, and I haven't watched it yet.
And has anybody seen the conspiracy theory rabbit hole around Barron Trump being a time traveler, there's these books that were written all these years. No, seriously, I'm gonna Google it real quick.
Oh
and
my
share
God,
it
I
with
have to
you.
Google it too.
I just saw it yesterday. So Baron Trump time travel. If you bet that'll be enough to pull it up.
My God. Okay, I lied. I'm gonna drink. I'll be right back. I'm loving this, but I have to have a drink for this.
Okay, so Baron Trump's Marvelous Underground something is the name of the book that was written back in the 1890s. Let's see. I just read about this yesterday or the day before.
Baron Trump's Marvelous Underground Journey.
What am I on?
Look at that. Ingersoll Lockwood.
Yeah.
First published in 1893.
And it talks about like there's somebody in there named Pence. There's I don't know if his name is Donald Trump or if it's something similar. But anyway, Nikola Tesla apparently was like said that he was he created a time travel machine, then they killed him or he died or whatever, and they confiscated his technology or all of his stuff. I mean, if you buy into just one little piece of that, the rest of it kind of falls into place.
Yes.
And I mean, if it's not true, it's an awful lot of synchronistic coincidences.
That all kind of tell the same kind of story. Like kind of fall in line in like the same direction.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm with you. So my mom watches this Coast to Coast with George Norrie. Like for the past couple of years, she calls me up and I'd give her the schedule because she listens to it like early in the morning. Funny thing that's on tonight: Brazilian UFO sightings.
Synchronicity. Have you watched Hellier?
No.
Thank you, Hellier. I was spelling it wrong. No. I was trying to tell Sabrina, I was like, I don't remember. I need to text her.
It's Hellier. It's Hellier, Kentucky. It's in Pike County. Okay. And
so we're out east.
Yep. So it's way over there near West Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
It's on Amazon Prime. You can watch it for free. I have been.
Not Netflix, damn.
What?
I was on Netflix, damn it.
Oh, yeah. No, it's on Amazon Prime. It's on Amazon Prime. My tarot card reader lady told me about it. I didn't know about it till she told me about it. But anyway, so there was an incident in Western Kentucky back in the 50s, I believe it was, where these like little 3-foot tall alien type silvery looking creatures were like,
that.
Okay, so similar sightings have happened in Hellier, apparently. And so this is an investigation of it or whatever. But anyway, just that itself, what happened in Western Kentucky out towards Paducah near Scottsville, I believe. It's kind of nuts because it was this whole entire family that saw all this stuff, and like they were dirt poor. They weren't people that really went out there. There was even a police officer, I think, who ended up on scene and seeing these things, and this went on for months.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, it's nuts.
My next question then to everybody here is, first off, Finding Bigfoot. Have you guys ever seen it?
No.
Sasquatch is real.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get into that another day. And oh god damn. Okay, we might get into that tonight. But anyway, have you all ever seen it?
Cell phone with a camera. How come the pictures of him are still so blurry?
That goes for UFOs, by the way.
Really fast of something.
Yes.
Like, have you ever tried to take a picture of somebody who like has a wreck and somebody's driving off and you're trying to take a picture of their license plate?
I refuse. We're not done with UFOs yet.
It's hard to take that picture.
Okay, but seriously, we have cameras all over. People have cameras in their yards. I mean, I'm talking ranches with acres and acres.
Trail cams.
With trail cams that take the best pictures, tremendous pictures, and still nobody can seem to get a clear picture of Bigfoot. And we've actually had some people, okay, something that huge would leave some sort of a trace. We have forensics that can show a guy that committed a murder in the woods 3 years ago, but we can't get a freaking sample of Bigfoot. And every piece of evidence that has ever been presented has always been debunked. People have found hair, they found feces, and all of them.
Some of it has come back inconclusive, though. Some of the hair samples and follicles and things
So
like that, they don't know
that
What if?
No,
What if
that's not true.
Sasquatch is the Chewbacca? What if Sasquatch is
Can
an alien? Too?
anybody?
Extraterrestrial.
Okay, now we're putting it together. I see where this is going. I like this. It's going together.
It's chewing.
And somebody, please make the chewy sound. Can somebody do that?
Papa Smurf, do it.
No.
You look.
Because I got the beard.
Yes, you're the hairiest of us all.
Yeah. I can't do it.
Damn, nobody can do it. Come on. Oh, we had one. Thank you.
It was very low and very bad.
But it's okay. We brought Chewy here, and I mean, if we're gonna bring Chewy up, somebody has to make the sound.
Sainty says he found Bigfoot. It's in between his legs.
Oh my God. Sainty, you are the man, dude. Okay. So,
okay.
getting back to these television shows about finding Bigfoot, Ghost Hunters. You guys have seen Ghost Hunters, right? What are your thoughts on that show?
Tama's daughter watches it religiously.
What are your thoughts on that show?
I've never seen anything like that, so I don't have any evidence to say, yes or no on it.
Okay, well, the reason I'm bringing it up and the reason I'm asking that question is because so far, all the evidence I've heard to try to convince me that UFOs have come to Earth has been television. I mean, you might as well show me a YouTube video right now. So I'm kind of curious of what actual evidence we have. I mean, just because someone investigates something does not make it true. The Navy investigating something does not make it true, and even they've said it's most likely nothing like that. It's probably a drone.
If they said that it probably was something like that, then people would be losing their ever-loving minds.
Yeah.
People are still losing their ever-lover minds.
Well, it's less of
But again, that's not evidence. You speculating on how the public would react is not evidence of anything. It's a personal belief.
I'm going to kind of open up a can of worms here.
No, please.
On it.
Yeah.
Government cover-up, government conspiracies.
Not a huge fan, but okay, I guess.
Do you think the government is 100% honest with you?
Dude, I don't think you're 100% honest with me. Why would I think anybody else is? I don't think my wife is. When I'm like, honey, do I look fat in these jeans? She's like, you look great. I'm like, you lying ass. I looked in the mirror. My ass is fat. I know damn well how this works. No, nobody's 100% honest, and I know damn well they're not giving me little white lies. They're just flat out lying to me. I know this. So that it still doesn't make it a cover-up knowing somebody lies to you.
Are you sure about that?
What?
I do little white lies. The fact that Sabrina just talked about my ass not looking great, or looking great, and it really doesn't because I've seen it. Doesn't mean she's out there. Doesn't mean she's out there doing Lyle. I mean, are you, honey? Because I'm insecure right now. But it doesn't. So the fact that don't you see another white lie, and I hear you drinking.
Yes, I'm having one shot.
A lie does not mean a cover-up necessarily.
What's your arm say, Lyle?
Oh,
It's Latin for I love Mike.
Have you
Mike
seen
is
Boondock
sexy.
Saints?
I have sort of.
There's no such thing as sort of. You have or you haven't. That movie is awesome.
You'd remember it if you saw it. All right, so
When you're
it's
fucking
two
rope.
brothers that go on this.
Right.
Hot brothers. Hot brothers.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
All right, so on each one of their hands, they have Veritas and Aquatus. So this way, it says Veritas, and if you flip it over, I can't flip that sign. It says Aquatus,
Oh,
but it's reversible. My
Right,
my
it's a-
girlfriend found it, and I forget what they call it. When we were down in
Anagram?
an anagram, I don't remember. She found it, and then we got these tattoos down in New Orleans. So, and she's
Very
got
cool.
Which
she's
New
got one
Orleans
of
is not known for aliens. They're known for vampires.
Yes.
Just saying.
Like
Now, those
you
fuckers are real. No, I'm kidding, by the way. No, but seriously, on a scientific explanation, from everything we know about science, it's almost impossible. And I will never use the word impossible as like, I will never say definitively something is impossible because I don't believe that.
It's like never say never.
Yeah, and you just
So,
motivated me.
Anybody drinking?
But there is no, there is no real scientific basis that anything, I mean, from what we understand of physics, everything else, all I've been presented is watch a documentary and wormholes.
Learn
But
how to read hieroglyphics.
Hold on. I pulled up something on my phone that I can't get back to. It's a CIA report, but I didn't get a chance to read it.
okay, now I remember, I think your clearance back then was only secret.
Barely. Barely.
And again, just because somebody investigates something does not make it so. We investigate things all the time and find out they're not real. We find no evidence and we move on. That's how science works. To this day, go ahead.
If we can't find any evidence for something and we can't find any evidence against something, then what do we say? Because there's a lot of things we can't prove one way or the other.
Like a god. Like a deity. That's the perfect example.
Yeah.
So, again, yes, I cannot disprove it. I cannot find evidence against it, but that does not mean he exists. Now we're just getting back into, and it's the same thing with UFO arguments. We're just basing it off belief, period. And that's where I have an issue. I mean, there has to be some sort of evidence. People have seen angels. People have seen Jesus in toast. People have seen gods. People have taken pictures, blurry as shit, of things they believe. They take pictures of clouds and make it something to focus on and believe in. So, again, we're looking, if you want to compare them, they're kind of the same thing to me. We're just looking at belief.
So, do you believe or not believe?
In what?
Aliens. Extraterrestrials.
I already answered that. That was the first thing I talked about. They absolutely exist. The fact that they travel to Earth or live on Earth? Nah.
You don't think so?
No, not at all.
All right.
Well, that just ended quickly.
Navy videos, like there's one up here, the gimbal video, like those things are moving super fast, and these are trained pilots.
How do you tell they're super fast?
Well, they say it in there. They talk about it in these videos, and the pilots are the ones that are talking about it.
But the pilots are keeping up with them, so how fast are they going? What kind of aircraft are they with?
Some of them they don't. I think in this gimbal video, I think it shoots away from them like super quick, and they like lose it and stuff. Like
and the resolution, how great is the resolution?
Well, look, it's like naval cameras. They're like all thermal and like
older.
I shot with on COD earlier today. I had that on my gun today. So I mean, so you can't exactly see, but something's there. But the fact is that there are quite a few of those, and I'm sure some of them are drones and whatever else, but some of them I think are.
But you're not sure. You're speculating.
No,
it's just all assumption.
You're also speculating that it's not. So
no, I'm saying there's no evidence that says it is, and that's where I stand. There is zero evidence. Nobody has ever presented any evidence that has stood between in a peer-reviewed scientific census. Nobody has presented anything that has stood to criticism, that has withstood falsification. I mean, it's all BS right now. Right now, all we have is people saying, I believe it. So you might as well get back into the deity thing.
Who are saying they've seen it. You have people who are saying that they've seen it themselves, but they constantly get discredited based on things that are irrelevant. And that's evidence that they have and stuff is taken by the government. I mean, that's why you hear about the Men in Black. They just show up and take things.
Oh. Okay, like but psychological. Go ahead, sorry.
That one couple in the 50s or whatever, it was they were driving down the road. I can't remember. It was one of those first documented ones where they came and reported it. They were credible people. And I can't even remember their names, but it was driving down the road and the crazy light, and and all that stuff. And
Are you talking about the people who were actually like said they were abducted?
no, they weren't abducted. They
Okay, they just
saw
saw it.
something.
Okay.
They were an interracial couple back in the 50s, and they were married, and they were husband
All
and wife
three of
driving
you,
down the road.
I would consider credible, but if you were to tell me you saw a UFO, that would not be evidence to me. It's just an eyewitness account. And even the police can't really always use eyewitness accounts. I mean, the American Psychological Association has already come out and said with studies done that eyewitness accounts really aren't that accurate, especially identifying people. So how can we identify something you barely saw or think you saw? I mean, there are so many explanations for it. I thought I saw a UFO when I was a kid, and it was actually on Unsolved Mysteries, as a matter of fact, in Pennsylvania. And I actually did see it. Well, it was okay, all I saw was a fireball across the sky, which could have been a million different things. But when I watched Unsolved Mysteries many years later, and I think I was with you, Lyle, and they talked about Pennsylvania in the year in the 80s, I was like, oh my God, that was the one I saw. And in the video, in Unsolved Mysteries, of course, some people did actually stop, and there was a UFO, and the government came and took it all away. But at the same time, all I saw was a big fireball across the sky. And I guess what? I've seen other fireballs across the sky too since then.
So what about this one? So what about back in 2012? This is actually in Hellier, Kentucky. There was a UFO that hung out over the town for like a day. Everybody in the town saw it. Everybody went outside and was like, "What the heck is going on?" And then eventually, after a few hours, they're like, "Well, still got to go to work. Still got to do what I'm doing." And they just went. And
but what about that makes it a UFO? Why couldn't it have been a drone or anything? I mean, there's a lot of explanations here.
No, not for this particular one. There's
Why not
a lot of explanations. I'm looking at a video of it right now.
Watch UFO sighting 2020 Brazil.
I've seen a million.
UFO sighting 2020 Brazil. Okay. It's on YouTube.
Okay, and here's the Navy's released one.
It's a UFO crash, it says. It's the first thing that popped up on mine. Oh, turn that off.
Okay, so hovering lights again in Hilliard, Kentucky. How is that evidence, though? I mean, it's still, again, was it taken at night or in the daytime?
Daytime.
Daytime. But you can't see the craft. You don't have a clear picture of anything. You just see a light in the daytime.
Oh, this video is interesting. I don't know how I feel about it yet, though.
Because that's the other thing, too, is most of these pictures are taken at night and videos are taken at night where you can't see shit.
Are you watching the Brazil video?
No, I was looking for the Kentucky one, but... And you are aware, like, even I can make a UFO video right now, right? And I could probably have one done in about 10 minutes that looks convincing.
Yeah, but can you get one that, like, you're going to have a whole town of people saying they saw?
There's been whole towns of people. That's mass hysteria. There are psychological phenomenon that has happened in the past. We can get people to believe anything, just about, on a mass scale.
Hellier.
Okay, so let me get to this Brazil thing here.
It won't come up for me.
Yeah, I'm not finding it.
One.
I'm not finding. No,
well, no, I found it. I just
releases 3 leaked videos. Let's see here. That one's terrible. See, and this, for me, it's almost like going ghost hunting, and people are like, every speck of dust in the camera lens is evidence. This is not evidence. I see a black spot in a thermal view. How did you say the spell Hellier?
It's I-E-R at the end.
Hellier.
I-E-R, Kentucky. Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay, I'm gonna have to watch this. Amazon Prime Hellier.
Oh, we're watching it tonight.
That's cool.
I mean, it's pretty intense, and they get into things that are also not just extraterrestrial. They're also looking at paranormal. They're looking at how things could potentially connect. But synchronicity, going back to what Lyle said, that whatever you said was the subject of something today to do with UFOs.
Now this Go ahead. I'm sorry. Finish that up.
Website?
Yeah, but you said that something came up about it, right? That something came up today about UFOs today.
Oh, I don't know. Talk about that coast to coast that my mom watched, and tonight is supposed to be Brazilian UFO sighting. So they're going to have a. Let me read this. Okay, Brazilians and maids report seeing a mysterious aerial object on May 13th. Several videos sparked speculation about crashed UFO. So they're going to talk to this researcher Johnny Enoch, and this guy Jimmy Church from Twitter, to discuss the validity of the case and what eyewitnesses.
And
so that's on tonight.
This came from chat from Sainty, and it just gave me an idea here. But we're getting our technology, and U.S. government's covering things up in reverse engineering technology from aliens. So I'm curious why even government, military, whatever, can't get a clearer picture, because holy shit, I could probably do better with my cell phone on some of the pictures government agencies are releasing. So if they're getting all this great technology, I'm kind of curious why the pictures are still blurry.
Because they don't want us to know they have it. They're keeping it a secret. The only reason they released the information about the UFOs, if you really want my opinion, was because
I do.
of COVID and everything else. They're just trying to distract us from things.
Ooh, is COVID from aliens? That would be a cool question to go with, actually. Hey,
No,
you don't know. It's new.
man-made.
It's not man-made.
It is man-made. I
It
didn't
is
say
not.
It's
There are-
released on purpose by people, but I don't believe that this coronavirus figured out on its own how to infect humans and jump from human to human.
No, that's not a
Just like
figuring
that.
out thing. It's an evolution thing. And there are plenty of viruses that are undiscovered and single-cell organisms that are undiscovered, that the more we dig into these forests, the more we let ice caps melt,
Yes.
we're going to find them. They're going to be there,
I
and we have no idea how to treat them. No, it's not a belief thing. It's a proven thing. We know they're out there. It's just...
that I think has come from animals. We as there are superbugs and viruses that are trapped in the ice and in the rainforest releasing things. I mean, that I fully believe that coronavirus came from animals to transmissions to human, whether or not.
Well, and we've already
already
genetically traced them back, and we're seeing COVID-19 is already mutated in different directions already. So,
yes.
I mean, I don't know.
It's got the Black Knight satellite.
That I've never heard of.
It pops up in a lot of things. Now, it's probably just space junk, but...
And there, you realize the thousands and thousands of pieces of space junk that orbit the Earth.
Right.
Okay.
But this one has been seen a number of times.
Are you on Wikipedia or Space?
I just look up. I was on space.com, but look up Black Knight satellite, and it seems to be like it's living or it's being controlled.
Okay, let me get back to the fact that so far all we've talked about in defense of UFOs visiting Earth, extraterrestrial living on Earth, are documentaries and television shows. Sorry, I have a really hard time with that, Sabrina, and I love you to death, so do not let me throw. This is not a throw under the bus type thing, but you watched a mockumentary on mermaids and we're like, holy shit. And I'm like, baby,
Yeah,
there's no possible way. No, but there was, and I argue with you the whole time, there's no possible way. Evolution would not allow a mermaid to even exist. But how many millions of Americans watched that and they were like, oh my God, mermaids are real.
Oh, I know.
Because of a mockumentary.
They presented it like that. It was on Discovery Channel.
Okay, and all these shows presented that way. Ghost Hunters, Bigfoot Finder, Suck It UFO Hitters. They all present it that way.
This is something that
it's not.
Was around before reality TV stuff came up.
Okay, all the rest of them were too. Bigfoot, ghosts, gods, mermaids. They were all there before reality TV. It's just now we have people able to present their ideas on a wider scale.
What if mermaids were some kind of alien experiment and so there have been
Gone
a few
wrong.
that existed.
And they came
Yeah.
from the spaceships that are trapped under the ocean.
Now
Or-
y'all just
or-
killing me.
the
Now,
water thing.
now you're just trying to give me heart attacks.
What if the aliens were just like, hey, let's experiment with like this fish and this human, and let's like see if we can, I mean, we made a
But where are
chicken
they
in
then?
the face of a dinosaur or something. I mean, we've made some weird things. as
Where
humans, and we're not
are
very
they?
smart.
All these creatures that are created by aliens, where are they? They all seemingly know how to hide. It's kind of like deities.
Well, if they
You know,
only
the
create
invisible.
one or two of them, if they only create one or two of them, then once those one or two die, and they may not be viable to continue to live.
Okay, but for
then-
mermaids, for instance, there wasn't just one or two, because this was something that went in for hundreds and possibly even 1,000 years of belief. So it wasn't just one or two, unless they lived that long and decided to follow every ship of man that went by. And me personally, I think guys just get horny and look overboard and like, oh my god, I wish I could.
Feel like that
Ooh,
dolphin
a
looks pretty
whale. Yeah, that dolphin's starting to look a little. Because I've
That's
seen
a-
dolphins, and I tell you what, they're pretty damn sexy.
Well,
Did you see the
dolphins
hole?
are the only species besides humans that have sex for pleasure.
Yes, I
Yes.
did. And have you seen the hole on their backs? Male, female, it doesn't matter. There's a hole on their back.
And
So
they
if you
have
try to
a-
ride one, just saying.
They have a what?
a sixth sense,
Yeah.
We have more than six senses,
and they're infinitely smarter than
scientifically
us.
speaking.
Their brains
They
are
are.
larger, and they have a language you haven't even been able to crack yet.
Yeah.
Interpret?
Is that the word of the day, Mike?
Like what Joe Rogan says, they're water people. Like he said, what if we look at us the way they look at each other?
They probably look at us
Right.
like you're fucking idiots.
And because, like he said everybody goes fishing, and nobody has ever fucking caught a dolphin. How smart are they?
That's not true. We catch dolphins all the time. It was a big thing in the
in
90s, by the
Wilmette.
way. Okay,
But, like,
even
you go out fishing, like you're not just going to catch a dolphin. You'll catch a little, whatever, red snapper and a shark and things like that. But you don't
Especially in
catch dolphins.
Colorado, you're not going to catch a dolphin.
Yeah,
bullshit.
did, oh
I
my
call
God.
bullshit.
maybe an extraterrestrial dolphin placed there
Yes.
by high aliens.
Damn it, and thank you. I wish I would have said that one, actually.
Beamed up out of the water, flown over, dropped in one of our freshwater lakes.
I mean, the biggest piece of evidence, I think, that we do not know what is out there in space is the fact that we still don't know what's in the depths of the ocean.
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, we're still random new species are being discovered in the bottom of the ocean all the time. What?
I have a theory.
Yeah, yeah. So the idea that we could be so narcissistic to think that we know what's off of our planet when we still don't even know what's on our planet. Not to
Right.
mention, we're still finding new species every once in a while in the rainforest.
I agree with you. Wholehearted. I mean, that's a great point. But what you guys are going with right now is not just what's here, it's what's elsewhere coming here. And that's a whole nother ball game. I mean, it's not even a ball game. This is, well, fuck, I don't know.
Whole
It's
different sport.
E.T. sticking his finger in other places Elliot didn't want it. I mean,
He'd light him up.
I know. It was like the dad joke, except if we're really bad dads. I've seen the video footages. I've seen tons of them, and I still don't get it. Now, and it goes along because, Nicole, you asked earlier about supernatural in general, and it goes along with all of that because it's all blurry videos. None of it, a lot of it's been proven fake, even with UFO video footage. The government investigating and releasing what they have, I'm not saying they're 100% honest, but the fact that they're saying anything, it's like everybody's going to use that to defend the fact that UFOs are there. But when I say, okay, I don't know, fuck, I'm just so lost right now. I don't know where to go with this anymore. You guys are killing me. You can use that point as a defense, but at the same time, when I counter it, it's like, what, do you believe the government?
Well, I
You
mean,
just used it.
I mean, I'm
They're
just
on
saying.
the
Hitman.
said, the fact that they release what they have means they have a lot more to me. And
I
agree with
disagree.
that.
I
No,
disagree.
absolutely.
They
could
don't
give
tell us
you, like,
everything.
they could give
I
you
didn't say they
5% of
did.
it.
That's implying.
I'm still not unconvinced that they allowed Trump to be president because they want us to distract from the giant asteroid Apophis that's headed towards us here in about 7 more years.
Oh yeah.
Okay, but
Hmm.
that would be completely out of his control because I mean that's 8 years of
Right.
presidency
He
if
still
he
can
gets
tell more
reelected.
than
So
Well, he's a time
Still blame
traveler
Trump.
anyway, so
no,
Well,
Biff
son
is
is,
not a
right?
time. Oh wait, Biff did time travel once. You're right, and he fucked things up even more. And Marty came back though.
See, look, it's our AI technology, and they sent everybody back, and it's all screwed up now.
But if Trump is anybody, he's Biff, just a dumber version. I'm just saying.
I don't disagree with you there.
I still don't see it though, and again, there is not a lot of science to back up any of it. I need more than just documentaries.
Well, what if the reason that we don't find any of the evidence is because it's evidence that is of a form that we can't understand? You know, what
Right.
if what if they, crash and their blood, okay, like so that say a spacecraft crashes and
Hmm.
an alien's injured in it. What if like the makeup of their body, because it's so different than ours, what if it doesn't decompose the way ours does? What if it kind of evaporates? What if there's something else happening to these remains and any physical evidence? Or what if it's just of something that we don't know to look for in order to be able to identify it?
But from everything we know, okay, that's from everything we do know of science, we know living things need water. The evaporation, all that things.
Living
To
things
me,
on Earth need water.
no.
Right.
Okay, you're right. That is what we know of science. But to say that's not how it works across the world, the galaxy, the universe, well, that would just put everything else out of play too. So other galaxies or other solar systems, the planets must not rotate around or orbit the suns, their stars. I mean,
Other
why
planets
isn't it?
and galaxies have other types of
No, it's all
organic
the same.
materials that go together with this, with the magnesium and the, whatever. What if it's just the fact that it's the same things put together? If you add this antimatter that, and these other elements that we don't know about because they're just not here, we can't support them, but those make the difference in how things are organically put together.
Earlier, Sabrina said something about comets and particles. Abiogenesis. I couldn't think of the term. It just hit me with her talking. With Nicole saying all that, it hit me. Abiogenesis is what I was trying to think of back then. So it's still the scientific consensus, but it is not something that is proven yet. So anyway, abiogenesis. That was how life started on Earth, supposedly. Don't say that in church.
Think that I know here on Earth they're carbon-based, water-needing objects, but if you were to venture out to other planets, we know like the gases are different. There's complete methane lakes on some of our exoplanets and moons and stuff like that. Like, what if there is objects or creatures that have that type of a thing? What if they survive
But
on methane?
if you're going to use the other planets, especially the ones we know about, we know there's probably not life on many of them. We don't know for sure.
Solar system.
No, we don't even know for sure. Europa, moons in our
Right.
solar system probably have life because there is water, and that's what scientists focus on. We go with what we know. We don't go with what we don't know and assume it's possible. That's not how science works.
But that goes into her point about we might not recognize it yet because it's not something that we've discovered, or we don't know to look.
So
at
we
it.
just make assumptions until we get there.
Well, I mean, that's what science is, trial and error.
No, it is
and
not.
evidence, right?
It's hypothesis and testing.
If you lived in Africa, in the Sahara Desert, for your whole life, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's say you lived there, and you lived off the land in whatever time period it was, and then somehow one day you got on a boat and you went to somewhere else. Like,
Was there a
Europe or
buffet
whatever.
on this boat?
Probably.
Yes,
But
I'm there.
hopefully no COVID, no Rona. But okay, and so then you somehow just got dumped in there, and all of a sudden there were these green trees and this water flowing and these birds and animals you've never seen before, right?
I
You
see where
didn't
you're
know
going.
that those existed when you lived in the Sahara Desert because those things don't exist there because everything's dry. It's the same thing with different universes, or it could be the same thing with different
Exactly.
universes. They're made up of completely different things.
No, they're
So
not.
why would we think that we would know what it was? I mean, if you saw a tree in the like a an oak tree from outside my house laying in the middle of the desert, you could be like, "What in the hell is this?" Because I've never seen anything like this before.
So basically, if I take a
Put it
tree
there.
that grows in Africa and come to the U.S. and they don't have that tree, and I find a different tree, I have to assume like Africa's an alien nation or U.S. is an alien nation compared to the
That
other.
as an example.
No,
The
but
environments are completely different. The animals that
but
live
they're
there are completely
not.
different.
If you look at the how things live, in your example, even they will still live the same way. They're still going to need water in the Sahara Desert. They are still going to need water anywhere. What we know about science is what we apply everywhere, and there's no other real way to do it. We can't just go out to a planet and say, I assume this is going to bring life because it's different. We're going to go look for life where there are places that fit where we see life. And we've reached across this galaxy quite a bit. We realize where we have oxygen, where we have water, where we have carbon, carbon's pretty much across the galaxy, but you're not texting me, are you? Saying like shut the hell up?
Me? No. I was
I
just
saw you
talking
texting. I had to
my
check.
kid. No, my
I
kid.
was making sure. I had to look.
So what
So-
if these alien beings are like a fourth dimension being?
Okay, what if? I don't know. What if they have 3 dicks? I don't
Yes.
know. That's my point.
They-
Is
no body.
hold on, I gotta go back to the ooh because let's just think
I'm
about
a
that for a
single
minute.
lady. Leave me alone.
No, I think all people who are watching this stream, women, men, aliens, should just take a second to appreciate that.
Yes,
I'm,
there's a bunch of
I'm
what
still
ifs,
appreciating it.
and there's still a lot of
Lyle's just gonna fuck it up. Okay.
Still a lot of non-evidence, and we don't know for 100% sure that that's what it is, but there is an awful lot leaning towards that way.
No, there isn't.
there has been for years.
There's nothing.
Yes.
UFOs is like the biggest conspiracy theory ever. It's name one bigger.
Wow, you're gonna
Trump's
call
an
him.
actual human being. That's a conspiracy.
No, lizard person. I do believe that 100%. But his hair is immaculate. I'm going for the look, by the way. Aside from I'm working on the comb over first, and then I'm gonna do the yellow orange-ish weirdness.
Sabrina, don't let him.
I wish Chris was here. He could help you with that. He's got the style.
Okay, Supernatural. Let's move into that just a little bit more because I think it's going to be the same for me, honestly. But I do want to go into Supernatural myself, and it got brought up. So UFOs, Supernatural, they're kind of on the same plane anyway of make believe. And so, who wants to go first on First Star to the left, Neverland to the right, whatever?
What are we
What?
talking about here? Are we talking
You're-
about paranormal stuff?
Ooh,
Like
let's do
ghosts
that.
and spirits?
Yes, please.
Oh, okay. Well, so Lucy is about to be 4 next month, and right
Mhm.
after she turned 2, she was sitting in my room with me after her bath, which we do every day. After she gets out of her bath, we play on my bed for a minute, get her PJs on. We were doing that one night. She just turned 2. She turns around and tells me there's a monster in the corner, and I'm like, "Well, I don't see anything." And she's like, "Well, it looks like," and she describes a dark figure. I can't remember what all she said. She tells me, I'm like, "Well, so what's it? Do you know who it is?" And she tells me this entity's name,
Mhm.
and she's scared. So I, just said, "Okay, if there's anybody here, like you can't be here. You have to move on. Like you can't stay here. You're scaring the baby. Like I wish you peace, but you can't stop here, right? Because I believe in energy passing through and whatever." And then She tells me that it moved to a different corner of the room or whatever. So we talked a little bit more. She actually tells me, like I said, she tells me this thing's name. And she tells me that this thing is sad because it wants to go home to its mom and sister. He misses them. And so then, as she continues, I start getting like, okay, like she's two, like little kids see things all the time that we don't know about. I mean, I've always heard that. Um, so then I just said it again, like, I wish you peace. You have to move on. And then, we talked about something else for a few seconds. And then I said, I can't remember the name that she gave me. Is that, person still here? And she said, oh, no, no. He went into the light and he's gone home to be with his mom and his sister now. She's 2 years old. I've never said anything about any of this stuff in front of her. She's never heard the phrase go into the light. She's never watched anything like that. That's not something that my just turned 2 year old would have been exposed to.
But it's a very
And
common
after
thing.
that, she went from being fearful and nervous, which she had been for the whole entire time, like 15, 20 minutes, to completely relaxed. So.
Well, and I was going to get into this thing, and I was going to bring Sabrina into this conversation on child brain development. But I'm not going to, Sabrina. I had an A+ paper in college on child brain development. And I'm going to stick with my tremendous paper because it was big, it was huge, and if you talk to other people who saw it, they would say it was big and huge.
Because they don't just give out A+.
They do not just give out A+.
Was it the best that's ever
It is the best. Nobody has ever seen a paper like this paper. Nobody has ever seen this paper. And everybody who did see the paper loved the paper, and you can ask the people that saw the paper that the paper was the
more
paper.
People like this paper than anybody
has ever liked any paper. Yeah, yeah. Even toilet paper right now during COVID. But at that age, first off, and again, this goes into so much more than what I'm about to say, but at that age, there are so many brainstem connections happening right then and there. We start losing them through our teenage years and get old like me, and there are a lot of connections that don't happen anymore. We don't learn as easily as we do. Back then, at that age, you are a sponge. You're absorbing everything. You have millions and millions of these connections happening at one time. But what we do know about a child's brain and psychology and everything else, this is a common phenomenon. It's something that goes on into adulthood. All of you right now, I can guarantee, have seen a shadowy figure in your sleep. Standing over your bed, probably.
No, and I hope I don't because you said that either. I don't remember my dreams.
So. I did in sleep paralysis, and actually, I thought they were aliens. Because
and it's a very common phenomenon. Millions of people report it.
Yes, I know that now. But it was creepy as fuck while it happened. Because
no, it scared the shit out of me. And I've had dreams as a child where I can tell you the name still to this day of the ghost that used to haunt me as a kid. And I don't believe in ghosts anymore, but his name was Sez. He was a 6-year-old boy. Sez, S-E-Z. And as a kid, I had no freaking clue why somebody would name his kid that. All I know is a Catholic priest came to my house, made me burn a Ouija board, and said I'm going to hell someday. So, Sez was the bad guy, though. Oh, that's a true story. Absolutely.
I didn't know that.
Hmm.
Well, I believe in ghosts. I believe there's residual energy left over when you pass on. And sometimes that energy just goes into...
To what? It dissipates. Energy scientifically dissipates. We know this.
Not necessarily.
No, we know this. Scientifically, energy itself dissipates.
Science doesn't even prove consciousness. We don't even understand how consciousness works. So don't tell me that there's not stuff that's going on with our body and our what makes us.
So again, the fact that I can't disprove ghosts means they exist.
Yes. I'm just giving you an easy answer. Argue with me. Go ahead.
No, I can't argue. The fact that you said that, just I want to jump through the screen and tackle you right now. I'm like, ah! Because normally it's like, oh, you'll get tackled.
Sorry, I mean you're welcome.
I didn't mean to. I'm hurt, tackled and back. I don't know where I'm going now anymore.
So
who am I tackling in a good way and bad way tonight?
My experiences. Listen. So like my dad, and you know my dad, and he's like.
super spy German guy. Yes, I know.
Yeah.
He's killed
Okay,
millions of
so
people.
he used to say, like, after
Probably has.
his mother passed away, she died in 84. And he used to, at certain times, say, meine Mutter is here.
Meine
My mom's
Mutter,
here.
yeah.
And he said, like, he's heard her laugh before. And my mom has heard it too. Now, these are people, like, they're not religious, but my dad knows the Bible inside and out. He's got post-it notes and everything. And he knows it inside and out, but they're not religious. And he said, he's like, she's here. And like the side of his like body here just got all prickly. And it happened a few times over the years. And she's even heard the laugh. My mother has heard the laugh before. And then when I was little one time, I was waiting. My dad was already at work and I had to wait to catch the bus. My mom had to leave early too. And I was sitting on my doorstep and I could see like the bus used to come over the hill like from our road here. So I was sitting there so I could just wait in the house until it was coming. And I heard something like pitter patter, like across the floor, going from our one hallway into the kitchen, pull open a kitchen drawer and shuffle around like in the utensil drawer, the silverware, and shut the door and then move on. Like this wasn't just a split-second sound. Like I heard it, I listened to it. There was no reason for me. I'm just sitting there waiting for my school bus, and I was like, "What the hell is coming?" And I shut the door and I ran out.
Lyle,
like,
do you have a good
weird
Sorry.
things that happened in that house?
What about you, Lyle? Give me a ghost story. I know you have one too. Everybody has a ghost story.
I don't. That's why I don't really believe in it.
Nicole, you gave me one. Do you have another?
I do, and I'm going to go back off of what Sabrina just said about your dad saying that he would get prickly feeling. So my oldest daughter, her dad passed away when she was 2. A week, 2 weeks after he passed away, it was very traumatic for me for lots of reasons. He had cancer, and he died. And I had a dream, and he came to me in my dream, and in the dream, he came back to life. I mean, it was weird. There were things happening in the dream that didn't make any sense. But at the end of the dream, the last part of the dream that I remember, he was laying next to me in bed, and he was pressed up against my side right here, against my thigh, and then on the back of my hand. Had the dream, whatever, woke up the next morning. For 2 to 3 days after that, those spots where in my dream he touched me had a tingling sensation constantly. Like it didn't go away. It was there. It felt like if you had been pressed up against something and it kind of like went to sleep in that one little spot. That's what it felt like. And I had a sense of, I don't know if I would say closure. I don't know if I would say peace. I don't know what I would say, but I had a sense that something had been resolved during that dream, and that was the lasting effects. That was how he let me know that he was okay.
I have to go a couple different ways with this one. First one, damn it, I'm gonna do the bad one first.
Okay.
As a teenager, I've had lots of dreams, and when they got resolved, they were great. I don't know who changed the sheets, but they were wonderful. That's the first one. Secondly, I don't think that's still, because there are still millions and millions of people that experience dreams like that. A lot of people base so much of their life off of their dreams that, from what we know of dreams, it's just random thought, and we put it together at once we wake up. Our brain is trying to make sense of them. So, and I'm not going to tell you I've never been scared of ghosts. I didn't think ghosts did exist at one time. I've experienced some weird shit in my life, but that does not necessarily make it supernatural. I can remember one instance, I thought my house was haunted, and when I came home, I was going to walk in the front door and I see a big shadow coming towards me, and I swear to God, I thought it was a devil coming towards me himself. It was the cutest damn pit bull or Rottweiler or some shit, and I just played with him. But I swear to God, I still didn't want to go to sleep. If you remember Lucky, I actually made him stay the night with me that night, and he laughed his ass off when that dog came at me.
How do you explain the physical sensation that I experienced for days?
I don't have to, because the fact is there are a million explanations. There are tons of explanations for the things like that. So I can't sit there and I'm sorry, because your story it's emotional. It's a great, but there are a lot of people that experience issues like this, and I get chills for no reason at all sometimes. I don't know. I really and I have no problem saying that. I have no problem saying I don't know. But it does not automatically make it a supernatural issue. It comforted you. It made you believe what you want to believe, and that's great if it helped you, but belief is not always a great thing.
Now I got a question on that. Okay, so we don't fully understand the mind. So was that your... Would it be possible that would be your mind sensing those areas as
yes.
kind of a comfort, like your brain recognized that that's where he touched you, and so for the next few days your brain just kind of made sensations there to ease the stress that you were going through in your mind, the uncertainty.
It wasn't just like a happy dream. It was very weird and it was bizarre. But the end result of after the dream happened and after a few days had passed and after I kind of processed the situation and processed what happened in the dream was that I felt comforted. It wasn't an immediate relief.
But could that still be something that was more mental on you, though? I mean, your brain saying, I need to comfort.
I think it could as easily be that it was psychosomatic as it could be that he came to me in my dream and laid beside me.
I'm not downplaying your story. You know, it's a comforting story. I've never experienced anything like that, supernatural or anything. That's why I'm not religious. You know, they're talking angels and this and that. I've never seen it. I don't believe it.
Now, see, my dad wasn't asleep. He was awake, wide awake, sitting there watching TV with my mom.
But most of us have
all of a sudden, you know, she must be here. Something's sitting next to me right here. And then they heard the laugh. And his skin was all prickly, all down the arm, all down the side of his thigh. And he said he felt it. It felt like there was a pressure, just like something right there. And he said, something's sitting next to me right now. And then both him and her heard the laugh.
But again, has that prove anything?
That's just his account. But the fact,
but there's millions of accounts like that.
Knowing how my dad is, and he doesn't believe
there are millions
anything.
of credible people and intelligent people, but how does that account for anything? I mean, psychologically, we can make our brains do anything. Hell, I could probably, if my brain made me, have a bruise. How does that prove anything? Again, you and I have been on tons of ghost hunts. We've done ghost hunts, and you've watched how people will turn everything into evidence. You saw it firsthand. Dude, that was awesome, by the way. Waverly, there's nothing there. How many times have I been there? And you know what? There is nothing there. And you know those ghost hunter shows that shows the thermal cameras and the... Okay, if you know how a thermal camera works, though, they're bullshitting. And all that is fake footage. Like kids bouncing balls around. If you know how it works...
hunters or whatever they are with their little, I see a little entity, little stick figure thing. I think that's kind of horseshit.
All of it is.
But I still think there's residual energy left around.
No, that's not how energy works. And if it was, okay, you hear all these ghost stories. You hear it on every documentary. You hear it everywhere. Ghosts.
Fun to believe.
It gets cold, too. Have you ever been in a place and it gets cold all of a sudden and ghosts are there? They must be there because it's cold now.
No, it's not. 1 + 1 does not always equal 2. Just because it's cold doesn't mean that there's a ghost. It could also mean that you're in in the shade.
Well, at the same time, though, for those people that are, let's say there's somebody that they're credible. There's a ghost here and that's how it works. It gets cold. Well, no, from what we know of science and, thermodynamics, it does not happen like that. First off, they would be absorbing that energy, which means they would be visible too. there's so much wrong with what we know of science and people's explanations or attempted explanations of ghosts. If they are energy, we would be able to detect them. The Hadron Collider would have already detected these unknown particles.
Like the God particle?
There are no ghosts. The God particle, if you actually listen to the scientist who discovered it, said I should have named it the goddamn particle because now the people are fucking idiots. It had nothing to do with religion or deities.
Dragon veins.
Oh, dear God.
No, I don't know what that is.
I have.
So I don't know if Mike's ever told you, but I was a practicing pagan, and I was in some covens.
What do you mean was? You're not anymore?
I thought it had to do with more nudie stuff, and it didn't.
I'm a pagan atheist.
No, I knew what pagan is.
All right, so I'm a pagan atheist. I have my altar is back behind me, and I have crystals, and I believe in energy and all that good stuff, and I have my tarot cards and all that. But
we need to hang out.
So
you're in trouble, Mike.
I know. I knew this the first time I met Nicole. By the way, I was like, "Fuck," which is why I didn't talk too much about my wife at the same time. I was like, "I love my wife; she's awesome, but I'm not going to tell you what she likes."
So, when I learned about these, but there's energy. Granted, some of it is magnetic energy from power lines. Some of it's magnetic energy from the earth.
5G.
Yeah, cell phone tower.
Jesus Christ.
But there are certain parts when you go walking or you're out in nature where if you're an empath, you can sense the energy and you can feel it even stronger in certain parts and call those dragon veins. So there's one in Saunders Springs. When you go walking, there's one part, I don't even know where to describe it, kind of across from that little spillway down there where you can feel it. If you're really focusing on how just being with yourself and focusing on the environment around you. No,
Stop
listen,
it,
I'm not talking about playing on your phone, sitting there, ooh, I'm looking hunting for Pokemon. You know,
you've done that there too.
You're really just trying to be I know, I like Pokemon too. But if you're trying to be one with nature and trying to just be mindful and calm and meditate, then if you're really thinking about that, as you move along, there are certain areas where you can feel energy stronger. Now, whether it's because of a power line or whether it's because of the magnetic energy on the earth or whether it's because it's residual energy from who knows what, I don't know. But you can feel it. I've felt it before. And I think I'm a credible person.
I agree.
Which is why I was talking about credible people cannot always be credible earlier in the conversation.
So a couple weeks ago, about 10:30 at night, my daughter was over at her boyfriend's house, and I was home alone, and I was completely chill, relaxed. I was getting ready to go to bed, and then I was watching Netflix, and all of a sudden, I'm into my show. All of a sudden, I have this feeling of dread come over me. It hits me in the pit of my stomach. I immediately pick up the phone. I call my teenager and say, "What are you doing?" She's like, "I'm at Andrews. I'm getting ready to come home." I said, "Don't get in your car. Don't let him get in the car." I have that feeling. She and I both have these feelings at times. I said, "It feels like death is coming for someone." That's the only way I can describe the feeling. It felt like death was on the prowl, and I wanted to make sure that Lucy was in the bed asleep. I went in and checked on her to make sure she didn't have a blanket around her neck or something like that. She was fine. I called a couple of my friends. One of my really good friends at work, her father-in-law was getting ready to go into hospice care. He had very bad cancer. And I almost called her, but she had been so stressed out dealing with him, and it was later than she normally would be up. So I didn't. Well, the next morning, I find out at 10:30 the night before, her father-in-law passed away.
But it was something you knew would eventually come to be. There were signs. Is it not possible your brain was kind of going along with that? I mean, this still doesn't...
No, because I wasn't even thinking about it. It's not something where I was thinking about anything or whatever. It literally just out of the blue, I was watching my show, chilling, not not like thinking, not pondering my existence or anything like that. It just came over me out of nowhere, and I knew somebody was going to die. This has happened several times.
But I've never in my life thought about Marky Mark. And I can tell you right now, I had a dream last night. Marky Mark stuck his stuff in my wife, and she liked it better than me. And the truth of the matter is, sorry, honey, I was pissed at you this morning about that. It was Marky Mark. But it doesn't make any, it doesn't bring anything to, wait, hold on. Between you and I, Sabrina, have you done Marky Mark?
No.
Okay. I can go on with this point then. It doesn't, oh God, damn it. Fuck you, Marky Mark.
Good lovers.
Hey, wait a minute. What?
Marky Mark might be hotter. He might be faster. I don't know. I hate him. He's a lot richer. Everybody here knows where I work. He's a lot richer. Again, I'm still not seeing. I'm hearing stories, and I've got tons of ghost stories. Sabrina, you said you didn't know about my little Ouija board or ghost story, and the priest came. It really happened. That was in Gralstedt. I can remember living in a house in Pennsylvania as well, where I would not go downstairs because every once in a while you'd hear a sound, and it was a squeaky sound. And oddly enough, it was right after I watched Freddy Krueger's movie, and it went on for years after that. But I would always hear the chalkboard razor blade sound going down the stairs, and it always happened when I was going down there. To this day, I cannot explain what it was, but I'm pretty certain. But nobody else here. Nobody else got that.
No.
Everybody else, it was fine. It's
right.
yours.
So
I'm just saying to you what you said to me.
Well, no, okay. That's what I'm curious of, and I was about to say that. For me, is like I never saw Freddy,
right?
And I don't think he's real to this day.
When Mike and I were sitting on the couch watching Unsolved Mysteries about we're like, "Fuck yeah, let's go!" We drove all the way up there, started talking to everybody, and everybody was like, "I don't know if they were told to sell the story."
It sounded like it though.
Nothing, absolutely nothing.
Not one ghost hunt. No. It was the worst thing.
It's just a bar with a theme.
Yeah.
That has history.
And it was true.
We pond monster.
Really, that can't be explained. And it's a lake, by the way, lake monster. It's a lake.
Is our lake monster, but
it's technically a lake. Scientifically speaking, it's a lake.
What?
There's something big in there. We have not figured out what it is, and
well, we refer to it as the pond, but it's technically a lake because of its depth.
Yeah.
It's like when it's filled up, it's like 25 or 30 feet deep.
The other one's a pond.
Yeah. The other one's a pond. But there's something in that pond.
It's pretty big, whatever it is. And it's not a catfish, unless it flew.
It's not a catfish, and it could be a striper that got in there, but I don't know. There's something in there, and it's been in there for a long time.
She says Loch Ness. I say
really?
fucking fat-ass turtle that's doing
I don't know what it is. But
what
there's something in that pond.
What does it do?
So when I was younger... I used to have one of those like small inflatable yellow boats, and me and my best friend would go out there paddling, and there's a lot of turtles in there. And
if you don't know our address, your girlfriend can't come over. Fuck off.
Who are you talking to?
Caden. He's like, "What's our address?" I'm like, "If you don't know our address, your girlfriend can't come over."
He's gonna go out to the mailbox.
You know how
it's not on there.
If you were to move the oar, sometimes it would create a little whirlpool and stuff like. So as we're out there swimming around, further down the pond or further away, you would start to see these little whirlpools start. And like it would get kind of freaky. And so we were starting to get away from there, and we got near the edge, and something came up and was hitting the bottom of it. And it wasn't rocks because...
Was it a ghost or an alien, though?
I don't know. It could have been an extraterrestrial.
Water alien.
Anyways,
fucking amphibians.
Came up and it was hitting the bottom of the boat. Like we thought it was a turtle, but she felt it. I felt it, and it happened a number of times. And to me, that doesn't make sense. Like I can see maybe a turtle coming up once, and being like, "Oh shit," there's something there, and
you
moving
got a
on.
mermaid
But it
in your
happened
lake.
more than once. And then, like, I used to see weird tracks, like in the snow, coming from the water, but not really going anywhere, and it. Kind of stupid, but only way I can describe it is like clown shoe type shapes. Like
You're a
kinda
big
round
fan of it, by the
like
way.
that, huh?
You're a big fan of it, by the way. Always have been. The
Yeah,
original and the
I
new.
like it. I didn't see it back then though. So there would be weird tracks, and then our geese freak the hell out. Like there
They
is something
don't.
in that. Yes, they do. When they go swimming with that head underneath the water, like all the way.
One
like,
time, and
that
there was a
one time
snapping
you saw
turtle
that,
hooked up to a
and you
baby.
yourself saw something white moving fast across the pond.
I never said
Remember
white.
that?
I
You
said
told
I
me?
saw a big wave. I will say
There's
that.
something in that pond.
So we went from believing aliens, believing Bigfoot's an alien, possibly.
The truth is out there.
Chewbacca.
The truth is obviously not here, though. So quit watching this shit, people.
The truth is out there. It's in the cliff.
Everything so far has just it's unexplained, is somehow supernatural. Our pond, even. So for those that you want to visit, by the way, it's $10 admission. But it's worth seeing. You might get to see something great. $15, by the way, not 10.
Hey, at that rate, you could quit your job and just sell tickets. Do
If
to
I
it,
sell it, they will come. Yeah, I mean,
Right.
somebody better come.
So, Sabrina, do you do tarot card readings?
Yes,
I asked her.
Haven't
know.
in a while, but yeah, I have them. I haven't gotten very, very good with all.
sorry.
of them. I don't remember
Okay,
them.
while they're talking, Lyle, I'm going to talk to you.
All
And
right.
Nicole and I have had conversations at work,
Friday.
and I was just sitting there with her, and I'm like, oh my God, they would get along so well. And I was like, I will never, ever introduce them.
And then
You
company
already-
dinners happen.
You already have.
No, this
You
is
did it
fake.
before.
This is not real. It's a blurry video. I'm going to blur it all out so nobody can prove it ever happened.
The Men in Black little light stick.
Yeah, I just like, you don't remember shit.
So you admit that the government has technology they don't tell us about then?
Oh, absolutely. They've always been that way, though.
Engineered technology.
Again,
Right.
Kleenex is one of those, by the way, just so you know. I mean,
What was
Tang.
Kleenex originally invented for?
Filters and masks. And then when they couldn't market that and it couldn't work anymore, they decided they got to find something to use it for. And we had private companies that took it over and marketed it for allergies, sneezing, coughing, cold, headache. Wait, no, that's something completely different. But it was kind of the same thing. Basically everything. GPS, for instance, is a government technology. It wasn't alien founded, but it was something that they had well before we ever did, traveling through San Francisco, by the way, Sabrina, with GPS saying turn left, turn right. What? Do not take me there, please.
Yeah, the art of reading a map is long gone.
No, it isn't.
Put her in
Aliens
an
and
address.
maps.
No,
Gotta read a
my
map.
kids are gonna read a map.
Yeah.
I still have old. Nope, we do maps.
You.
I mean,
It's important for
How-
our children to know because when the zombie apocalypse happens, they're gonna have to take to this.
thank you, and that what I will agree with. Yeah, when the zombie apocalypse happens, I'm all there for that one. Yep.
I watched a Joe Rogan podcast not that long ago where they were talking like when coronavirus first, came. There was this whole big thing that he was talking to this virologist or some really smart biologist type person, and then they were talking about chronic wasting disease in deer, which I knew existed but didn't really understand how widespread it was. And they're talking
yeah.
about, like if chronic wasting disease does the coronavirus thing and figures out how to jump to humans, that's how we're going to end up with the zombie apocalypse because people are going to just waste away.
Okay, and most wanted cookie. Sorry, I missed you in saying hi. No, zombies. If you look at how they work scientifically, it's
Oh.
still an impossibility. At least for
There's
after a
that
while. Okay, no,
that
for a
turns those
while.
caterpillars into zombies
For a
because it
while.
burrows into their brain and controls them,
There are a few. There's a caterpillar. Yeah, I know. There are a few things that can
and that's
take on the zombie.
proven
No.
evidence.
Scientifically.
But what I'm
proven.
trying to say is it cannot last that long. Energy, everything else. Take The Walking Dead. Take The Walking Dead, for example. These zombies cannot keep going with no... basically, the way the show portrays... No. Oh, my God. Why does it have to be brains? Okay, Nicole, I saw you just sit back down. Why is it only brains for zombies? No, they can't. Scientifically, they cannot keep going. we're talking about zombies. We got into that. You got up, but
So answer about zombies.
okay.
Walking Dead. Why does everything else decay on them except for their bone structure?
Okay, well, I was trying to get into that when you talk about zombies. If we're gonna, dear God, no. First off, zombies eventually will have to give up because energy comes from someplace. If they're gonna keep moving, they're burning energy, which means muscle, fat, whatever. Which means eventually they can't do much. So about 3 or 4 weeks, it's like the COVID-19 pandemic.
That's what happened in 28 days later.
Oh my God. I just figured this out. No, think about this. COVID-19 is actually worse than a zombie pandemic. Because it would only, well, it's boring, but it would only take only take a few weeks for them to die out. Because they have to still burn energy to move. You cannot have a human body moving around without burning energy. So this whole dead thing, and I can walk around for 10 more years, is bullshit. You have to burn energy to keep moving. Booyah.
Boom. Mic drop.
Air fist bump, please. Somebody? No?
We can't even see you, Mike.
I can't. I'm watching it.
Y'all could have just fist bumped the camera and it would have been great.
Thank you, because that's why they eat humans, to provide more
Thank you. Ah, boom. Yay. That's why they eat humans.
From your wife, though.
And I'm not giving that to him.
Okay, Nicole, first off, you do realize I'm married, right? You said wife, so you realize the whole married thing?
Yeah.
Just back there. Okay. Just make sure everybody knows.
I was married a time or two. Didn't go. Both of them died, so.
I'm pretty sure a piece of her dies every night, but
Oh.
I'm sorry about that, by the way.
No.
Okay, so UFOs, ghosts, or Bigfoot, what the hell are we doing now? Because, damn it, I'll keep going, but you guys are killing me here. I have not heard one piece of evidence.
On the wrong side of the line today.
No, there's always a right side of the line, and I'm gonna always try to be on it. It has to be evidence for me. There's no evidence. Porcupines, Bigfoot.
Eat Bigfoot bones?
Do
they?
That is the going thing, yeah. People believe that. That's why you don't see Bigfoot bones, is because for some reason porcupines eat them.
I think you don't see Bigfoot because he's an alien, so.
But where does he go then? Spaceship?
No, he time travels.
Back on the Millennium Falcon.
If he time travels, do you not think he would fix some of the shit that's happening now? Racism, Trump, Trump.
Fix that. Well, okay, that part.
How does it
Seriously, one person. Have you ever heard of the butterfly effect? Yes, one person can change everything. Have you seen Marty McFly and his mother?
And that brings us back to our AI technology and the extraterrestrials or time travelers from us.
Okay, they're dumber than Trump then, because they keep fucking up.
What about Mothman?
Oh, God damn it. Oh, Sabrina, I have to go to the liquor store on this one. No, we've actually been to Mothman Museum.
We've been to Point
Shut up, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's very interesting.
I think it's very stupid.
Shut up.
I'm going to shut up.
You're entitled to your wrong opinion.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to Sabrina's show and mute me.
And I mean, but it's just not there either. I mean, it's in other places. They have like the Jersey Devil and things like that. There's other creatures out there. People see.
You believe people in West Virginia in the backwoods? You've been there. It's backwoods. Saying, "Oh my God."
Like a Maine's dog or something.
Yeah, chupacabra. But you believe some backwoods people talking about red eyes in the sky is basically all they ever said. Every witness account was that I saw red eyes. I was driving my Jeep and red eyes. I was in my bedroom window and I saw red eyes and a bridge falls someplace. Nobody ever talked about red eyes, but he was affiliated with that bridge crisis too.
when you watch Hellier, they talk about Mothman, and what really is the phenomenon that really kind of drives that whole series is synchronicity. It's things happening to bring people together that kind of push them forward. And so the Mothman prophecy, sort of the same type of thing. So you have this one or two people who are having these experiences that keep them asking questions that lead them to have more types of experiences that leads them to that information. So whether you can say that definitively there was something there, and that if there was something there that it had anything to do with the bridge collapse, you can't say that definitively. But you
You
can't,
can't
there
say it
are
happened definitively either because of this strange entity.
I mean, so unless I bring you a dead body in front of you of some
No,
unknown
again,
creature, you're
no,
not going to believe it.
I want to see the leprechaun, yes. If you want to prove to me that leprechauns exist, I need to see it. If you want to prove to me a unicorn exists, I want to see it.
Are you
Yeah, absolutely.
The show me state.
Oh, I get it. I got it. No, but again, you have to have evidence. Do you believe, by your logic, leprechauns exist then, unicorns exist then?
I've never seen anything to tell me that either one of those things exist. But I have seen things to convince me that there are otherworldly beings, that there is spiritual residual energy. I've only told you two stories. I could tell you so many experiences that I've had of supernatural things.
And so could
happening
millions
throughout
of
my
others
life.
of people, though.
Well, then millions of people can't be wrong, Mike.
Unless it's in their head.
Well, it's all in our head. Science is in our head. Money is in our head. Time is in our head. We just made up a fucking construct to explain things and to create order. Where there
Okay,
is no fucking
so
order.
get back to it then. Is it supernatural or is it all in your head?
Both.
That's the question. No.
Yes.
No, it's one or the other. There's a natural or supernatural
You're saying
explanation.
it's one or the other. I'm not.
I did
I'm
just say
saying
that, so I can't deny it.
external forces are, impressing upon my internal
How do you prove that?
resources. Well, I mean, I can't approve my experience to you.
And millions of other
Good
people.
point.
So, no, because here you go. All your experiences, if I say millions of other people have dealt with the same things, and people can actually, who study this, and smarter than me, because trust me, there are tremendous people out there that are the best at being smarter than me. It's true. They can actually show the same things happen to you, to you, to you. You guys have all experienced the same damn things for the most part. So millions of people experience the same things, and we can sit there and look at it and scientifically tell you it's all in your head. And it's smarter. Probably. Yeah.
I got this. Can you read it? Can you read
Do
what it says?
not dumb here. Not dumb air. And all I saw was nobody talks about Fight Club. The first rule of Fight Club is nobody talks about Fight Club. That's what I read. It was the same
My
Peak
friend
soap
has
bar.
a 3D printer, and so he's making these. He was like, "Here, take one. You can show it to everybody." And I was like, "Okay, so
No,
here we go."
put
Thanks,
the.
Nick.
Tell him to make me a the Fight Club one.
Okay, first rule of Fight Club: don't talk about Fight
You
Club.
don't talk about Fight Club. Yeah.
Okay, I'll see if I can get on that.
And the first rule of In Kai We Trust is don't make shit up. Just seriously, we have to have evidence. Everything else, why is it everything else for us we have to have evidence for except supernatural? Supernatural is like, we'll find excuses to believe in it. Why?
They're
Or religion.
experiences. They're
Supernatural.
because it's an experience that isn't tangible. I mean,
But it's an experience other people have.
But you can't touch your love for her, and don't go anywhere nasty with that because you know what I meant.
I was about to touch my love for her in a minute. I can touch my love right now.
Prove that later tonight now.
Yeah, no, I can touch my love right now, by the way. So,
Here's my theory on that. People have this need, this desire to believe in something.
agreed.
They pick whatever they want. They pick their
Choose
poison.
Bigfoot and aliens. Keep going.
Mike?
Sorry, I didn't mean to stop your trail of thought.
Keep going, Lyle. I want to keep going with this one.
Well, that was just my point. That's how I see things. Like when I was going through my cancer and everything like that, everybody's like, "Oh, we're gonna pray for you." I'm like, "Don't." I believe I'm gonna get better. That's I have more to more people to piss off. I can't die right now.
Yeah, me, by the way. It sucks. I love you, by the way, but it's me. It was me.
But in that instance, I kind of realized that everybody, as human beings, everybody needs something to believe in.
Yeah.
It's human nature.
Poison has a song about that.
Yeah, they do.
I was about to sing it, but I'm not going to sing it.
I know. I'm about to sing it too.
Mr. Karaoke?
Nope, I'm not singing tonight.
So everybody has, and that's where I don't believe in religion, but I don't mess with religious people because that's what they choose to believe in. You preach to me, I'm going to tear you up. Don't try to convert me. I've got my ways. I've got my beliefs. Same with supernatural. It's never happened to me. I don't believe in it, but I'm not going to bash you for having your experiences in it.
And I'm not bashing anybody. I'm just not believing it.
That's okay. I don't need you to believe it. Still happened.
Well, that fucks my ego up, but whatever. Everybody should believe as I do, or else. No,
Are you a Christian? Are you a Southern Baptist Christian when you said that?
Undercover. I'm trying to see what the rest of you people do and put it on stream. No, I'm not a Christian. I'm an atheist. I'm going to say the word. I don't say this very often. I'm an atheist. I don't believe in shit. I believe in evidence.
I believe in a higher power, but I don't believe that it's some personification of what humans think. When you hear people talk about God and you hear people talk about Jesus, they attribute all of these very human ideas,
attributes, and
he's jealous. He's a jealous God. He's a merciful God. Okay, I don't believe that. What I believe,
he's a murderous God.
Well, depending on which testament and which book you're reading, whatever. But what I believe is that we are our soul, our consciousness. Okay, that is energy, and that the whole point of being on Earth and living a life is to become more enlightened. So by becoming more enlightened, to me, that means becoming more of a positive energy force.
Like that.
Not necessarily a beacon, but that positive energy is what pushes the universe through space and time or whatever. So that's my belief, that we're all, and I believe that we have different iterations. I mean, I think I don't want to say I believe in reincarnation exactly, but basically we continue to have however many iterations we need to have in order to reach a certain level of enlightenment. And I think at some point we just become this spot of energy that's moving the universe forward. That's what I believe.
Now, see, I think we're a speck of sand in the universe that has no effect on the universe. But I did like your idea of the positivity. I'm a positive type of guy. Sabrina, you were smiling the entire time she was talking. I want to know what you were thinking too, because I see a lot of what she said and a lot of what you say to me.
I don't believe in God. I do believe in energy. I like to believe in Bigfoot and space aliens. God was probably an extraterrestrial. Jesus was a witch.
Fuck.
Sorry.
No, I don't care about that. Jesus is probably not even real. I'm just...
Well, but I think it's easier for people to believe in something because everybody's always searching for something. Like you see this with the coronavirus right now. I'm amazed at how many people, like even of my close friends who I personally think are somewhat kind of tough, like have such a hard time with this. Like they are freaking out and they're crying.
I can't get my hair cut.
I'm like, No, not that, but like
No,
the
it's kind of that
social
too.
aspect. Like they're missing getting to go out and see people and talk, and they think that like this could go on for a year or more, you know, and they're just like really just kind of devastated. And I'm
They broke
like,
down, yeah.
okay, it's fine by me, you know.
Yeah, I'm
I'm like,
like,
I really don't care,
I
you
go
know.
fish
And
every
then
day. I
there's
don't
other
care.
people. Well, there's other people that the only way they can justify something is they have to put their faith into something else. So that's why they believe in a God.
But they
You know,
believed
so
in it
they have
beforehand.
somewhere to put, huh?
But they believed in this God beforehand.
Right. I'm not saying that's their reason for it. I'm just saying it's things like that, things that they don't understand or they can't explain, and it's too much of a stress. It's kind of like that fight or flight response. They can't justify it, so they have to put their faith into something else. It's more relaxing or calming to them. And I think that's why people believe in a lot of things. Plus it's taught, it's passed down. If your parents believe in it and tell you all this is true, then
Most
you're
likely you will, yeah.
So, I mean,
no.
No, but most
no,
likely,
well, I know that.
statistically, yeah.
I'm just saying
I
the
got to
majority
age
of the
reason
time.
and started questioning them, and they didn't have the
Right.
answers. I'm like,
And
But statistically,
that's why
most
the rest of
people
us come here.
who are religious
like
probably got that religion from their family. I mean, that is
Yep.
true. Most
Like, and
likely.
I used to go to church and I wanted to believe, but I always still was like, something. This is a bunch of crap. And I just, I on my own mind, because I was comfortable with that. I didn't need to have a higher power to pray to be like, oh, I'm going to put all my worries in God and I'm putting it there and I'm going to let him deal with it so I don't have to stress about it. No, I'm going to own my own shit. If I'm stressed about something, I need to figure it out. It's my problem.
Yep.
Well, and if you did something wrong.
I think sometimes the answer to that stress is simply to come to terms with it and accept that there are things that are completely out of your control, out of anybody's control. I think that the reason that religion even exists is because people were trying to make sense of things they didn't understand. And they wanted to believe that they had some control. So if I pray to my God or the sun god or, Ganesha or whoever that I'm praying to, that is going to make good things happen to me because that's what I'm doing.
It gives you that reassurance, yeah.
It gives you the feeling of control is what it really gives you.
Okay.
Right.
But that does not make it real. So that goes with everything else we've talked about.
Agreed.
And Bigfoot, supernatural, we'll all talk about again. But
for them.
But that's the point. And that goes with everything we've talked about tonight. UFOs, Bigfoot, ghosts. It makes it real for them. Your experiences, what you want to perceive, what you want to look up, the shows you want to watch, the experiences you've had even, because we've all had some experience you can't explain. I've had plenty of them too. But that doesn't make it, again, it's the point where you have to say, I don't know. Science hasn't explained it, which in most cases on the supernatural, it has. There's never been an instance in the world, in our history, in human history, where the supernatural explained away a scientific theory. Scientific theories have always explained away the supernatural. People believed heaven was in the clouds. Well, yeah, we can pretty much predict where the clouds are going to go, what they're going to do. Storms are coming. And it's just interesting to me that we'll keep evolving that story. In religion, people will be like, okay, it's not in the clouds anymore. I was like, but hold on. We had a whole biblical story that went to this. The story of Babel, where we were going to build an entire tower to reach heaven.
Those people were on meth or something.
But God got mad at those people, and this is an explanation that people still go with to this day. God got mad that we could all work together as a society, and he was like, fuck you guys for trying to reach the clouds. That's where I'm at. None of you will ever speak the same language again. Poof.
And was mad that we were trying to get up there to see what the hell they were doing. Like, oh, really? Well, let me just scramble your brains around.
Well, and that was the point I tried to make. If you read the story of Babel, he changed language in all the world. And if you look at that, it's kind of the most ridiculous story ever on why we have different languages, because most languages are based off of one single language. I mean, German, willkommen, English, welcome. oh my God, how did God fuck that one up? I mean, it's so far apart. We would never figure willkommen and welcome. I mean, I would never figure that out without God. So that was the reason he did it, though. He made different languages in the Bible so we could not work together again. That was the excuse. And that is not how language came about. We know this. We know what language is. We know how to interpret, translate. Hell, Sabrina.
Except for that spaceship hieroglyphic.
Dear God, there are people that still translate Egyptian hieroglyphics to this day, just so you know.
Yeah, but they don't know what the fucking spaceship is.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, well,
or is...
I haven't read it yet. Yeah.
So it's being blocked that they know something that... They're telling us something different, and...
It's being censored.
It's being censored. Yeah, they know what it is, but they're not telling us exactly. They're going to say, like, oh, it means whiskey. See, and that's the point I'm trying to make. It's like, it's all speculation. People are like, well, we don't know, so they must not know. Or if they make one mistake, that's enough reason to delegitimize an expert. And again, we're dealing with this right now. Every expert is wrong. There's only one source for the truth. That's everything anymore. I mean,
Donald Trump.
I would never say the name out loud. Because if you say it 3 times, you might come through my monitor and kill me. You cannot say it 3 times. Do not say the name 3 times.
I thought you were strapped, I'm just saying.
Okay, have you never watched Candyman, though? Because it's like a dumber version, but he will still come out here and get me.
Really scary.
You cannot say Trump in the mirror 3 times. That's going to be the new game for my kids. Like, I'm going to teach that, and the world's going to... Like, every kid from this point forward is going to go in the bathroom and is like, do not say Trump 3 times. He'll come out, and he will fuck your world up.
He will talk about everything.
And tremendous and great.
You just kill yourself.
So, we missed a topic tonight in our...
Oh, fuck me. Okay, yes.
Flat Earth.
Oh, fuck. Oh, no. We're saving this one. We're saving this one, and it is because of Nicole's friend. And you, what was his name again, Nicole? I'm sorry. We're going to bring Rob back for that conversation.
Okay.
That one's being saved for a later date.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Saying there are enough questions to have an interesting conversation.
There are.
But people are presenting them as answers, and there is where the problem lies. We cannot...
Have you been out into space and looked down on the Earth and seen that it was a globe?
Okay, no,
No,
but...
Okay, so you don't have that evidence.
No, absolutely. But again, it's eyewitness, so for me, what does it matter? But why is it physics would work? Damn it, we're doing it already. I meant to go back to a different subject.
No.
Why is every other planet like that but us?
We're going to talk to Rob. We're going to get
Let's
Rob
talk
on
about the
this.
Bermuda Triangle.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's going to
I
go
have a
back to
theory on that too.
your magnetic stuff. Does that have anything to do with it?
Yes.
Ley lines and all
You know,
that.
there's like another place that's like the Bermuda Triangle that's like
Yes.
directly on the other side of the.
It's not directly on the other side.
My theory. Are
It
you
is
ready?
not
Okay.
there.
All right, listen. So the Marianas Trench is
Yes.
where the other triangle is, and then you have the Puerto Rican Trench, which are 2 of the deepest points. Like, you know, the Marianas Trench is obviously...
But they don't meet up in any way whatsoever.
What?
They don't actually meet up in a straight line whatsoever.
No, they're relatively close, but here's what I'm saying.
No, they're not.
So they're close. If you look on the globe...
The universe? Yeah.
They are almost kind of opposite of each other. So we know the Earth has
Pour me
magnetic
some.
lines. Listen, the Earth has magnetic lines. So my theory is that since the crust is cracked there, it goes down deep, that you're closer to the core, that the magnetism is stronger in those 2 areas. And that's why there are things like...
How does that affect wooden ships?
What?
Well, if the magnetic forces are crushing them.
I'm talking
Why
about,
would they
like,
crush them?
with the airplanes and things like that. Like
I could put magnets together and...
all the whatever electronics on board and stuff like that, where things get screwy and stuff, and people start to lose sight or see things because they talk about people who live really close to high power lines and stuff like that. Really kind of screws with you a little bit. I think because of the trenches being right there, that's why we have the Bermuda Triangle type phenomenon and the stuff at the other
Or
side
the
of
fact that it
world.
was a highway.
Triangle? Is that what
Yeah.
it's called? The Dragon's
Yeah.
Triangle? It's by Japan, yeah.
Or it was a highway for ships from Europe to the Americas. So if you're going to have an area that has all the ships coming to it, you're probably going to have a higher probability of sunken ships in that area than anywhere else in the world.
I still think the electricity getting messed up by
By what?
magnetism. That shit fucks with stuff.
It is. What does it have to do with planes disappearing and they go in the ocean, honey?
Because they're blind. They're following their control boards and stuff, and when things start going haywire, they don't know where they're going. They crash into the water. It's not a supernatural force, is what I'm saying. I'm saying it's magnetism.
What I'm saying is, this is a lane that everybody has taken for centuries. So the fact that people find sunken ships there and airplanes and everything else is not a huge deal. Do you know how many times commercial airlines fly through the Bermuda Triangle? And I can tell you right now, 0 of them are in the Bermuda Triangle to this day. So it could be a technological issue back in the day. Oh dear God.
Do I?
Nothing, they're in heaven. I don't know where to go with that. No, I
like my theory.
But the problem is the first thing you said is they are on both sides and they're like one trench and one trench. It's not the case. She did say that.
No, she was talking about the trenches
being,
and the Dragon's Triangle sits almost exactly opposite of the globe from where.
No, it does not. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not true. It does not.
I'm gonna have to Google this and prove you wrong.
I looked it up before, and it looks like they are pretty darn close to each other.
Okay, pretty darn close is
those triangles.
2 + 2 = 5 is pretty darn close.
Listen, those triangles are pretty much over top of like the Marianas Trench and the Puerto Rican Trench.
No, they're not. And again, to this day, in our lifetime, how many people have you seen die in the Bermuda Triangle? Because I can tell you right now, cruise ships, boats.
I don't know.
Are you sure you haven't? You've been on the east side of the Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina. It goes pretty far up.
I'm just saying, I think the magnetism coming from the Earth escapes more because of the trenches.
We've been on boats there. I've been on boats there. I'm still alive. It's weird. And for the last 100 years. Ooh.
Like maybe it pulsates. Kind of like an electric fence.
But now you're looking for a reason. You're not bringing actual evidence. You're looking for a reason.
It's my theory. I said it was my theory.
Okay, do not say theory. I hate the word theory because scientific theories are actually facts. Yes, hypothesis. It is completely different than a scientific theory. And that bugs me.
Conspiracy theory.
Okay, different term. There is no. Jesus, you're gonna make me do this, aren't you? Scientific theory, the word theory are completely different. So when you put conspiracy and theory together, it still goes with the common theory. Scientific theories are backed by facts, testable, observable evidence. Period.
But they're not proved because that's why they're still a theory.
Do you believe? No, that is not the case. And do you believe in Do you believe in gravity? Do you believe in gravity?
Oh my God.
Do you believe gravity exists? Because in scientific community, gravity is a theory.
Yes, I know. And it's the only force that doesn't have an opposite force.
Nothing is proven in science. That's what pisses me off right now. There is no science is not about proving anything. There's nothing in science that's 100% proven. It's about evidence.
So then why do you keep asking us for scientific evidence of paranormal
evidence?
Happening?
Because I'm asking for evidence, not proof. I'm asking for evidence. And so far, I've been provided documentaries.
Evidence?
No. Again, you can have witness accounts of a murder and still be incorrect. A witness account, and again, I brought this up earlier, and it seems like nobody wants to acknowledge this. You can go to any psychological site about this. The experience you and I, Sabrina, have had arguments about numerous times with the shadowy guy. Oh my God, do you know how much that occurs around the world? And coincidentally, each one of those accounts goes with that worldly religion. So if you go to a different country, they still see the shadowy figure, but it goes with their religion. And I know, you can still say, oh, well, that's because ghosts know. But that's all you got. You go around the world with the same psychological phenomenon, you still get the same psychological phenomenon. It just fits the other religion. Muslims have seen shadowy figures at their bed. Christians have seen it. Atheists have seen it.
It actually happens. And
No, it's because it's your brain. No, it's because your brain is making it happen, which is why it happens the same for everybody. If it's supernatural, why can't these supernatural beings that are so amazing at showing up and doing things and affecting our lives do it a little differently to make sure it really affects our lives differently?
Maybe
they all do it the same, but they don't.
Like have a signature move or signature saying.
Yeah, it's all the same. They don't have leave a fucking cigar, burn me with a cigarette, don't use a condom, just something.
Sabrina, how do you do it?
Exactly. She drinks a lot too. But it's a true thing. I mean, all right now, everybody's bringing is just hypotheticals. But what if? What if? We're dealing with a phenomenon that happens around the world. It's been explained a million times, but all everybody else has is, well, it happened to me, so it must be a real ghost. That doesn't make sense to me. And that's how I work. I'm sorry. It doesn't. If
your experience of love for your wife is
it's a chemical reaction.
It's only your experience, though. You interpret that.
So nobody else has loved my wife?
I don't know if anybody else has ever loved your wife or not.
I'm pretty sure they have.
There's no factual evidence of that.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure
tangible evidence of that.
So what does that mean?
It means that your experience of love for your wife is what you make it, just like my experience is what.
But love has been explained by science. It's a chemical reaction. I mean,
it's not. That's lust.
Oh yeah.
No, love has been explained that way as well.
I did a whole research paper on this in college. You
So
might not want to go there.
Oh, I kind of want to go there.
So the experience of love, the chemical reaction, it's just a rush of, what is it, oxytocin, and then...
but no, I don't know. You did the paper.
Well, I mean, it's been a while. But anyway, and basically, you do have this rush of experience, a rush of emotion.
So why do people get divorced? If it's not a
reaction.
chemical thing, I mean, why do people get divorced?
Because love itself is a choice that you make, not a chemical reaction.
No, it is actually a chemical thing too, but okay.
Well, there's
the choice to stay together,
with love, but it doesn't stay the same throughout your relationship.
What does it have to do with the supernatural either way?
Love, that chemical reaction goes away because you build a tolerance to it.
So what does it have to do with supernatural still, though? I don't get it.
What it has to do with it is that you're discrediting our experiences and saying that's not evidence.
I'm not. Scientists are. I've had the same experiences.
Love in your wife is real. I'm not saying it's.
I didn't say your love for anybody else wasn't. So that's a bad. I mean, that doesn't work.
It's an experience. It's an experience of a chemical.
It doesn't matter. But if 1 million or 13 billion other people have had the same experience, why does it? Is it the same ghost doing it to everybody? Is that how we explain this, or all the ghosts have to do the same thing? So all the ghosts have to do the same thing is what I'm thinking. I mean, they all have to sit at our bed and make a shadowy figure and not really show us anything, not be in pictures, and do the same thing. So that's how supernatural works. They all do the same thing for everybody, but that's what I'm saying. I don't get it. My experience doesn't count, but everybody else's does. And
No, I'm saying you're saying that our experience isn't reliable evidence.
It
I'm
isn't.
I'm just making a comparison.
Okay, so your experience of seeing God do a miracle, I should believe that. Like, if you told me right now you saw God impregnate Mary, and which is fucked up, by the way. She was a teenager. Jesus Christ, you couldn't find an older girl to do this with, you motherfucker. But if you saw God,
were different back then.
oh, I know, you know, they had good childbearing hips at 12. Seriously, dude? You couldn't come up with something better than that. But you couldn't find somebody hotter than a 12, 14-year-old. Jesus. Even I can do that right now. And I'm not all-knowing. But seriously, that's going to be our excuse is just... I don't get it. I don't. It's the same fucking thing to me. We're just making an excuse for something. I mean...
I think that's what kind of we do as humans, though. We just try to make sense of what's happening. We try to...
Okay, but again, that's religion.
Can.
So it comes down to we just believe what we want to believe and everything else doesn't matter?
Yeah, pretty much.
No, but
Isn't that
that's...
how you live your life?
No.
Until somebody shows me something that makes sense to me in a different way, then I'm going to believe what I believe.
Has anybody showed you that God didn't really impregnate? There's no Virgin Mary? I mean, somebody showed you that.
Well, I can't time travel, so I don't know what happened.
But so you believe it then?
No.
But why not? I mean, billions of other people do.
A story that was written by somebody like 400 years after said thing.
But you believe another story of other people that said something that showed it might have happened, and that's where I'm kind of going with this.
What story do I believe?
The UFOs, the aliens, they live on Earth.
Oh, yeah, because I want to.
That's all I needed. That answer right there. If you would have done that an hour ago, you could have avoided...
We had a conversation.
But you could have avoided the whole making fun of me, being like, Sabrina, how you deal with this? I mean, that was more for my sake, I guess. More for my sake.
A long time ago, I choose to believe in it because it's more fun.
But fun does not make it fact. Belief does not make it fact.
Never said it was fact. Just said that's what I believe.
Sorry.
Fine.
Fun is completely different. This is fun. Talking about it is fun for me.
Right.
Sure.
And if we all felt the same way that you did, you wouldn't be able to have this conversation.
Yeah, we'd all just agree with you and it'd be like 5 seconds. Like, what do you think about this? Oh, we agree. Okay.
Yep.
Is there a discussion about it? No.
Kind of like sex, I guess.
Your side right now, I totally believe everything you said because of that one thing. So I'm switching to your side. Right.
Okay, but at the same time,
it would be 10 minutes.
But at the same time, I would never want that. And I don't mean the agreeing with me part. I'm right. But I mean the agreeing with me blindly. I would like people to actually sit there and think about it. I mean, you don't have to sit there and leave this conversation saying, well, that fucking mic is awesome and sexy. Just the sexy part. Take that away.
And he's converted me.
Yeah, you don't have to take that either. Just the sexy part, please. Even you, Lyle, please take that away with you. But just think about it. I mean, you're taking the same things you disagree with on other things like religion, and you're applying them here saying, well, this could be right here, but, well, I don't believe in this here. But you're taking the same logic, and that's what bothers me in everything when it comes to religion and supernatural. That just, it hurts my heart. I don't know how else to explain it. I'm like, it's the same logic. Right now, tonight, I heard the same logic. It's all belief.
So let me ask you something, Mike.
Okay.
Have you learned something tonight? Have you learned anything, like just getting other people's points of view? You've had my point of view for years, but
yeah, I have.
Tell us something you've learned tonight.
That there are things people will believe without evidence.
You knew that. You didn't have. I learned that this Baron Trump was, and I'm going to have to go read more about it, time traveler.
Okay, I am going to look that shit up tonight. And Hellier, is that what it's called? Hellier on.
Hellier.
Last week, I really did. Nicole, I promise you, me and Sabrina were sitting there like it was, and I kept spelling it wrong first off, and that was on Netflix secondly, so it was completely wrong. I kept saying Harrier.
11 on
No,
Netflix.
she kept saying Hanger One. I'm like, it's Harrier something,
Okay.
and I was like, maybe I'm spelling Harrier wrong. Hellier. So we'll watch that tomorrow.
I think the important thing is to expose yourself to people who believe differently than you.
Of course, yeah.
Because you're not going to learn anything by talking to people that believe the same way as you. And
I agree.
You're not going to have the opportunity to influence someone and their beliefs if you only surround yourself with people who already believe what you believe. If you only ever talk to people who agree with you, then there's no growth happening anywhere.
Well, and
Exactly.
okay, the three of you right now are probably the three people I talk to the most in my life. Seriously, and two of you know this. The third is probably like, holy fuck, he's a loser.
I never thought that about you, Mike.
I was talking about Nicole. I mean, Jesus Christ, all three of you think that? I didn't know this. The whole consensus is bullshit.
Comedic entertainment here.
No.
Back that up.
I believe this, actually.
Sorry, no.
There's probably pictures, too, and they're not blurry. And video. That's the worst part. But no,
I would just go in Mike's office and just like sit down and start talking about random shit. Like,
it is. And we've talked astrology, we've talked everything, and I loved talking to her about it. I really did. Astrology is not something I ever really got into, and reading the things she sent me, and when I say reading, I'm talking not a horoscope, I'm talking like 10 pages of shit. I read that shit, and I'm like, well, you did. And I told Sabrina about it, and she was, you saw it. I brought it home to you.
Yeah.
And she's like, see, told you, Pisces.
Oh, yeah. He is a total Pisces.
I am a total Pisces. But no, seriously, you three are the three I talk to the most, I would say. God, that's pretty sad. Does anybody
like matching necklaces or something?
Actually, I do send out necklaces to a lot of viewers, so if anybody wants a matching necklace, you can have one.
A pearl necklace? Is that what you're talking about?
No, Lyle.
And there's my Lyle. He's back.
All right, guys. I'm going to have to hop off here. My
yes.
gonna be here in a minute.
It is time to go. She has good food coming from not Texas Roadhouse.
Yeah. Roadhouse was too busy.
Big shout out to everybody for joining. I do appreciate it. Appreciate the subs. Much love to the panel for coming out and dealing with my shit. I can't believe everybody pretty much disagreed with me the entire time.
Wonderful.
You knew that was coming.
I did, actually. We should do this more often. Oh my god, I'm married to 3 people now. No, seriously, much love to all of you. Thank you again. If you can hang out for like 2 more minutes before I end this stream, I would appreciate that. But we are out of here. Have a great weekend, everybody.